defend their undefeated national championship season from a year ago. That'll be getting rolling starting on Monday with Michigan in the Naismith Hall of Fame Classic out there in Las Vegas. And, of course, the men's basketball team gets started on Monday as well. 2 games going on at the same time. You're going to need a double screen, taking all the Gamecock basketball action coming up on Monday, as they'll be taking on North Florida here at Colonial Life Arena. Actually have their final exhibition coming up tonight, as they'll take on Worcester, well, you pronounce it one of those ways, the alma mater of Coach Paris. Of course, that's coming up a little later. We'll get some insight from some of the players themselves. They'll be sitting in with us as the show rolls along, as we get you set for, again, what should be a fun season of Gamecock basketball on the men's and women's fronts. And Jack and I talked about this a little bit earlier on. I heard Bill and Preston talking about it too. There's a excitement, but a apprehension, I feel like, with a lot of people within this fan base when it comes to men's basketball, because you look back and say, okay, great season a year ago. You went to the NCAA tournament. You did something that hadn't been done since the Final Four run back in, back in 2017. But in the history of this program, consistent, sustained success has not been a mark of it necessarily. There have been good years that have been followed by bad years, and then the bad years have strung into more bad years and stuff like that. So I think a lot of people are cautiously optimistic about where this men's basketball team is, because they don't want to get too hyped about it, because they're afraid they're going to be let down. But at the same time, there is plenty of reason to be excited for what Coach Paris is going to do in year number 3 here. And as we were just talking about at the end of that last segment, and Coach Paris admitted it when talking to the media at SC Media Days a couple of weeks ago, he knows his name's not sexy. He knows South Carolina does not get the benefit of the doubt yet. But that's what you're looking to build as you go into year number 3, coming off of a tournament appearance, to get to the point where they eventually say, you know what, I don't know what the South Carolina team has, but I'm just going to assume they're going to be good year in and year out.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing? I got here sooner, but I had to park, which was
3 minutes.
I'll be honest with you. The parking, I guess when you got here, a little bit better than when I got here.
There was a few spots available. Was it all booked up?
Yeah, it was all booked up. So I had to go back around the other way, and I parked. And I had somebody towed. But anyway, it's another story.
I think they're towing your car right now.
Absolutely. Hey, the younger version of me, I'd have parked right in front of the doors on the sidewalk.
No, you just drove in.
So anyway, you were talking about Lamont and with Coach Paris, and yeah, and he said it. Look, they don't know me in the South. I played at Worcester. I coached in the Midwest. I'm not a guy that people go, oh, that guy. He was an assistant for Bruce Pearl at Auburn, or Rick Barnes at Tennessee and Texas. And now Lamont Paris comes in from Tennessee, Chattanooga, and that was his first run in this area of the country, period, I do believe.
Yep.
So you come in, you're not known. The program hasn't sniffed the NCAA since that miracle Final Four run in 2017. So nobody looks at South Carolina as, quote, a basketball school or a basketball program that's on that tournament type level. And 2, I don't know the coach. And then 3, let's remember this, and how we can laugh about this now. Lamont Paris is looked at, what was he, like 19th choice for this gig? Remember, there was rumors that, Wes Mitchell was having dinner with certain candidates, and we had this guy here and that guy there, and somebody's at Halls, and this dude's over
following
there.
FlightAware, flight trackers.
Exactly. And then, you hear, well, this guy, they talked to this guy, but this guy did all these rumors. And then all of a sudden it's like, Lamont who? And so it almost felt like the perception was, and again, we laugh about it now, and no one ever wants to bring this stuff up now.
Right.
The perception was South Carolina totally screwed this thing up, and they took their 15th choice because they messed up everything else, right?
Right.
There were national guys who cover college basketball saying, what the bleep is South Carolina doing with the coaching search?
Right.
You had Sean Miller reportedly, supposedly, and that really was never a thing, but that's neither here nor there. But you had all these different things coming out, right?
All it takes is one person to say those kind of things, that it just takes on a life of its own.
Absolutely. And usually it's agent based.
I saw somebody that looks like Sean Miller at Hall's Chop House. That clearly means something.
You will never live that one down. But anyway, so you sit and so you think, A, not known as a basketball school.
Right.
B, head coach really doesn't have any ties to the region or the SEC or anything where you go, oh, that guy. And then C, the perception of the search. So you take it all together and you get year 1, which again, just the way that thing was, that was craziness. It was a total rebuild. You're Lamont Paris and you're walking in, everybody's walking out, right? So you're basically almost starting from scratch.
He was taking on a team of guys that he, for the most part, did not recruit. And yes, you had a high-level guy in Gigi Jackson that you obviously wanted to hold on to, but that wasn't, it wasn't a roster made up of what Lamont Paris wanted it to be necessarily.
Right. Exactly. And so you had year one, and it was tough. It was struggles, but you saw improvement that last 10 games. You said, "Oh, they're getting better. They're getting more competitive."
Took Alabama to overtime here
Yep.
at the end of that year, and we kind of looked at each other and said, might be something here.
They're getting there. And then last year, of course, shocked the world, picked last or next to last in every poll. Lamont did not take it well. And, they used that. And you talked to Kerry Rich today, and we had Kerry on the show for an hour, a couple months ago, maybe?
Yep.
And Kerry said they legitimately used that for motivation. It wasn't phony. They used being picked near the bottom or the bottom of the SEC preseason as motivation. And then you get what you got last year, one of the most surprising turnarounds in the country. And now you sit going into this year, and once again, pick 11th, not picked to go to the tournament.
At least it's not last.
Not last. But again, it's almost like, hey, you guys were a cute, cuddly story last year. Now prove that you have some kind of foundation for sustainability starting with year two.
Right.
And when you look at this basketball program, you look at, you lost Talon Cooper, which again, my love for Talon Cooper is starting to border on creepy, even for myself.
You had to get a restraining order, right?
Well, just one. And then, I backed off kind of. But Cooper was such a great quarterback for that offense. A pass-first point guard who, when he had to make big shots, I think he almost made every big shot he took. He set a tone defensively. He set a tone in the locker room. He was a leader. He was perfect for what you needed last year.
Sure.
And now Talon Cooper obviously is gone. And to me, the biggest thing for this basketball team for 2024-25 is how do you replace Cooper? I mean, Jamari Thomas is coming in to supposedly be your starting point guard. He's sort of a combo point guard. Cooper was a pass first, run the offense guy. Thomas is a little bit different. But we'll see how that works and how Lamont, fits Thomas's skills into the system regarding point guard play. Or does he start to look at it like, okay, Thomas is a starting point guard, but we're going to play Cam Scott there a bit. We're going to play Jacoby Wright there. We're going to do this, that. Is Morris going to get some minutes at the point? How are you going to handle the point? To me, Tyler, that's the biggest question mark of this team is the point. Because I think Colin Murray-Boyles is only going to grow in year two. You got more athletic in the paint with Pringle and Butler. Miles Studi, you hope, can stay healthy the whole year, who gives you some more three-point shooting. You got stuff here to where you can say conceivably could it be a better team than last year?
Yeah, the one thing, and we talked about this, was so much a reason why Talon Cooper was praised. The experience that he had coming in. He played 130 some odd college basketball games prior to ever coming to South Carolina. And yes, having the COVID year and stuff certainly helped out with that. But that's something you just can't replicate. And that level of experience, you either have it or you don't. So while the experience on the team may not be as much as it was a season ago, it's still pretty high. Which again, I think we figured out. And going back and looking at Coach Paris's Chattanooga team they took to the tournament a couple years ago, he likes an experienced team. And this team is once again kind of looking like that as well.
Yeah, he brought in experience. Pringle's experience. This will be his third stop. Thomas is his third stop.
Studi's been around for 12 years now.
Studi, I think, has got his law and medical degree. So you've got a lot of experience. Colin Murray-Boyles is going into year two. He's gone through that first season. So he might not be as grizzled as the other guys. He's got experience. Jacoby Wright's a senior. And then you bring in some freshmen. The way is being led by Cam Scott. So you still have a lot of experience. You're right. Last year's team was one of the most experienced in the country. This one won't be quite as experienced as last year, but you still got some dudes who have played some games. Pringle, arguably his two best games of his career in the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
Last year in the Elite Eight against Clemson, the year before against A&M Corpus Christi when he went 19 and 15.
Mm-hmm.
So you have some material here to have another nice season where hopefully it ends in the NCAA tournament.
Absolutely.
And obviously next hour we're going to be men basketball heavy. Jamari Thomas will be with us, Miles Studi, Jacoby Wright will be with us, Nick Pringle. We'll talk to those guys. We'll have Lamont Paris is going to be with us, and we think he won't be because he has a schedule change. So we might not have Lamont like we were hoping. We're going to have Lamont's coach in college from Worcester. Coach Moore will be in with us as well. So we got a lot going on for men's basketball in the 1 o'clock hour here on the game as we celebrate. Really, the opening of the season obviously is Monday, but we're celebrating today here at CLA. We're sitting here in the trophy case room. We're trying to figure out, you think we can get one out of here without them seeing us?
Well, here's the thing. If you took one of these to the pawn shop, I think they'd know where you got it from, Terry. I don't think you're going to be able to
But
get
if we
too much
took it
out
to
of
an
it.
out-of-town pawn shop,
Well, it says NCAA. It's engraved with the school on it. Like, unless you melt it down, I don't know how
I
much
don't
you're
know if it's
getting out
really
of it.
gonna. They were really that melting down was a next level idea by you. You're more of a slime ball than I give you credit for. That was good.
I'm from Atlanta. I know my way
Good
around.
point. We're sitting here. Is this chicken?
That is true. Our guy Sam, TK
Uh-huh.
Sam, the
Okay.
Gamecock super fan. You've seen him with his sign. He's at
Mm-hmm.
every sporting event.
Mm-hmm.
He came by just because when head coach Staley wanted to get a picture with her, we
Mm-hmm.
just said, "Hey, got any chicken?" And he took off running and brought us back literally
God love
his
him.
entire menu. Sam is a legend.
We love Sam, so we're going to sample up. We got the chicken. We got another platter here with some stuff too, and so our job is to eat as much as possible because we don't want to be rude.
That's what we do.
That's how we handle things. So we're here at the CLA all day today, tipping off the 2024-2025 basketball season, which we hope will be just as successful, if not more successful than last year. The men going to the NCAAs, the women obviously winning the national championship and going undefeated, even though they were so disrespected in the preseason and not picked number one. They were only picked, what was it, fifth or third?
Something
Or
like
seventh
that.
or something last
So
year.
so disrespectful.
Within 1 week, they were number one again.
Right.
So anyway, we're going to have a lot of conversations during this show. Hopefully, we'll have a couple of the women players to hang out on the post-game show with Jay and Elijah. We are here getting the 2024-2025 basketball season really started for us here on the game. And obviously, you can hear the men and the women here on your flagship home of men's and women's hoops, 107.5 The Game in Columbia. Also, we carried the men 100.3 in Myrtle Beach as well. So we'll get back. We got some Shane Beamer from yesterday, Shane's presser. We're going to hear some thoughts from the football coach going into this Texas A&M game. That is coming up next. And look at Tyler's got the entire list on his phone. Look at you. Quite. Who do we have next? Is it next? I thought it was 1 o'clock hour. All right, Jamari Thomas is next. Screw this. Let's get Jamari Thomas in here next. I thought we did that all 1 o'clock.
But you're the one that
Who's
makes the schedule.
Who's the guy that printed the schedule?
Who runs the show here?
Jeez, the guy that prints the schedule can't remember the schedule. We're going to talk Jamari Thomas next. Talk some Carolina hoops right here on the halftime show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head, Ed Bird back at Mission Control, punching the buttons. We go till 3 here on the game. Live from Colonial Life Arena, the trophy case room here. We are hanging out, getting the 2024-2025 basketball season cooking all day, thanks to our buds at Atkins Law and also Columbia Craft. Talking some men's basketball now. The newcomer, Jamari Thomas. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Yes, sir.
Good. Well, first of all, obviously, we're glad to see you show up here at Columbia, play a little ball. Everybody appreciates you.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
Thank y'all for having me.
Now, you had an interesting journey, my friend.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. We like to always ask everybody's thing's different when they hit the portal.
Yes, sir.
So you have obviously had a hell of a year at Norfolk State, player of the year. And you're like, man, let's see what's up, right?
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on.
Yes, sir.
When you went in the portal, did you expect the craziness that would ensue once you went into the portal?
Yeah, kind of, because I already, seen how it kind of went before, like the past few years in the portal. But yeah, man, it was a crazy journey in the portal, figuring everything out. But I'm glad I'm here.
And so obviously you almost went to VCU,
Yes,
almost,
sir.
and then you decided to come to South Carolina. So what was the pull that made you switch it up to come to Carolina and play for Coach Paris?
Yeah, man. Really the basketball conference, playing in front of the Gamecock fans, and Coach Lamont Paris, man, he's one of a kind, man. It's such a pleasure playing with him and playing for him.
We talked about this a little bit earlier, and Paris mentioned this at Media Day the other day, that his name isn't sexy around the SEC, where people aren't giving him the benefit of the doubt necessarily. But from your perspective, coming from a mid-major program, when you see what Coach Paris has done in 2 years in South Carolina, what sticks out to you?
Just like how the attention to details that he brings to the game, and how he makes his players better, and how he lets them reach their full potential.
Now, you said he was one of a kind.
Yeah.
Give us a little peek around the curtain. What makes Lamont Paris one of a kind, Jamari?
Man, I don't know. Like, it's just how he thinks the game. He's so smart, and he's such a kind guy. Like, I don't know. He like I said, he's one of a kind. It's just like how he thinks the game. How he sees the game, how he helps us see the game as well. So it's like I said, it's a pleasure playing for him.
We had Kerry Rich on a little bit earlier, and he said when Coach Paris gets talking ball, it can go on for a while. So he has a one-on-one with you.
Yeah.
How long is that thing lasting?
30 minutes probably at minimum.
All right. What, you ever sit there while he's going, because he gets going? You ever go, man, I got to check my phone. I got to see what's going on.
Nah, I don't, because I really need to pay attention and learn everything I can from while I'm here,
Right.
man. I'm just here trying to learn as much as I can from Coach Paris.
All right. Jamari Thomas hanging out with us, New Carolina Gamecock for the 2024-2025 season. Now, you're brought in, and I mean, obviously, we outsiders, we media people, we basketball dorks, we kind of get an idea what your role, because again, point guard Talon Cooper leaves, point guard's open. You played obviously a ton of point. We figure, okay, well, Jamari's going to roll in and be the point.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you're a different kind of player than Cooper. Every player's different.
Yes, sir.
And so is it Jamari Thomas looking most of his minutes at point guard? Can you give us a little what's up on all that?
Yeah, I'm running one. Definitely facilitating, scoring, doing a little bit of everything, playing defense. That's one of my biggest things, playing defense. But yeah, I'm playing point guard.
You got to be for this guy. You got to play defense, right? For old Coach Paris.
Yeah, man. LP is not letting nothing slide on the defense end, man.
Were you familiar with what Talon Cooper did when he was here last year and how he kind of ran the offense and everything?
Yeah, he ran it well. Like watching Talon, like you can tell he knows the game well, sees the floor well, and thinks the game well.
And obviously, you played a lot of ball. You started, I believe, at Wilmington, right?
Yes,
and
sir.
then you went off to Norfolk State and just had a phenomenal year.
Yes, sir.
And being conference player of the year. Obviously, when someone improves to the rate you did, to where you got better in all aspects of your game, from 3, from 2, assists, all these things, you just improved. It doesn't take a genius to go look at your stats and go, wow, this cat got better.
Yes, sir.
How many hundreds of hours did you put in the gym to get you to where you're at now, man?
Man, a lot of them, man. Just repetition, repping things out, seeing the game, making the right reads, things like that nature. Yeah, a lot of hours in the gym for sure.
What are you most proud of that you've gotten better at since you started balling in college?
Oh, like how I think the game. Like before, I just go out there and play. Like I love basketball, so I just go play. But just how I think the game, how I see the game now, and just how I view everything on the court, man. You only get one shot at this, man. So you got to make it count.
You've been around the game for a couple years now. Again, going back to your time in Wilmington, Norfolk, and just kind of looking back here, you guys played at North Carolina, played at UConn, played at Tennessee last year. So some really huge, intimidating environments. How does that prepare you to get ready for the grind of the SEC, where you're playing in big game after big game, week after week?
Yeah, man. I love big games. Like I don't know. It's something about it makes my heart. I don't know. I love it. Big games is like I don't know. It just brings a different mentality out of you. And now that I'm playing big game, like after big game after big game, I just feel like it's just going to bring the best out of me each and every game.
And again, look, there's a lot of positives of coming to South Carolina,
For
obviously.
sure.
How much, all right, if we were rating getting a chance to run in the SEC against, a lot of dudes who are trying to hear their name in the first round of the NBA draft and stuff like, how high of that was a pull for you to say, look, I want to come ball with these guys. We'll see what I got. We'll see what they got.
Yeah, for sure. I've always been one of them ones where you got to show me like that you're one of those guys that belong in the first round or whatever the case may be or whatever whoever the analytics or anybody says about them. I always been one of them guys that just always had a chip on my shoulder and wanted to prove it.
The Coach Paris is not afraid to pull guys from mid-major programs like yourself. BJ Mack came over from Wofford, had some guys from Citadel over the past couple of years as well. When you look at the guys that you played against routinely in the mid-majors, how many of them do you think could play at the SEC level overall?
Oh, it's great players at the mid-major level. It's a ton. I'll say it's a lot of guys that can play at the highest level of basketball. It's just about the right opportunity and the time and everything. Everybody, it's God's time, honestly.
Jamari Thomas hanging out with us, new South Carolina Gamecock here as we celebrate the opening of the college basketball season, men and women here at CLA on the halftime show in the game. All right, so I like LP. I'm gonna start going with LP. So,
yeah,
so
that's what everybody calls him.
so good. When LP was recruiting you, what does he have a pitch? Because he seems like a different kind of guy. I mean, no offense to John Calipari, he comes off as a used car salesman, right? What is the quote unquote pitch from LP to get you to come play ball here in South Carolina?
I wouldn't say it's a pitch. Like he tells you what it's going to be like, and he's like, since I've been here, it's been everything he said it was going to be like. Nothing was going to be given to me. I'm gonna have to earn everything, and that I'm going to have opportunity. So like, just having an opportunity to come play at the SEC level, and knowing I'm gonna have to earn it and things of that nature. I want to earn it, things of that nature. But yeah, he does a good job though. Like, he does a good job, man. Him and whole staff, C. Rich, TB, D Mac, everybody, Coach Will, everybody did a great job.
When you committed here, was there a particular player either from a year ago or coming in from the portal that you're most excited to be playing with?
Colin, because he makes the game easier, of course. But I've always known Jacoby Wright. So as soon as he found out I was about to take my little visit here, he texted my phone. He was like, "What's the word? Like, what's up? What we doing?" But I've always known Jacoby. He's been a great player since high school, and been competing with him and against him for a long time. So yeah, Jacoby for sure.
All right, cool. Last thing for you, because I know you got stuff you actually have to do that's more important than yapping with us goofs. If someone's never seen you play and they're going, "Man, what's this guy like? I'm reading this or that." Give us a couple of sentences on your game, sir. What do you got?
I say I'm all around. Like I can shoot it. I can shoot the mid range. I can get to the basket, draw contact, get to the free throw line. Everybody loves my defense. Just playing defense, being a ball hawk, how I play the passing lanes, things of that nature. But I say one word to be like dog. Like I know a lot of that's been like thrown around a lot, but like when you see me play, like you can tell like that I really got a chip on my shoulder and I'm a dog.
You got 5'11". You got some hops so 5'11", my friend.
Yeah.
You get up there all right, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, man.
That's all a little that. I go, yeah, he's got a little something going on there.
Yes,
a little vert. All right, Jamari Thomas, we thank you, man, for hopping in here. We're looking forward to watching you play here at CLA. And thanks a lot for your time, my friend.
Sir,
We do
appreciate y'all for having me.
No,
absolutely.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, we're not done.
No, we got Nick Pringle coming up next.
The real tall guy, I think, is Nick Pringle. Look at me, the real tall guy. Nick Pringle's coming in here next. We're going to talk with another newcomer to Gamecock men's basketball. That's next here on the halftime show. Hanging here at CLA, tipping off the 2024-2025 basketball season. Thanks to our buds at Atkins Law and also at Columbia Craft right here on the game. Oh, what we're talking about is the opening of the 2024-2025 men's and women's college basketball season. We are kicking it into gear here at CLA thanks to our buddies at Atkins Law and also Columbia Craft. We're going to go till 6 after us, the post-game show with Jay and Elijah also here at the CLA. Right now, though, talking to Nick Pringle, newcomer. But you're not new. You're from the state.
Yeah,
like, you know
sure.
what's up. How many times have you been to Columbia before you came here to play ball?
Lots of times, probably over 100 times.
Oh,
I got
so
a lot of family here. So.
You could take everybody around, man.
Yeah.
You knew what was going on here. All right, so it was very interesting. I noticed last year, I think you finished in double digits 9 out of your last 10 regular season games.
Yeah.
It's really weird, Nick. The more minutes you played, the more productive you were. Go figure.
Yeah.
Wow. You probably looked at Coach Oates and said, dude, put me in the game. Give me some more minutes.
Definitely, man. I mean, situations happen, but when it came to me, contributing to my teammates, that's all I wanted to do. So, when I stepped foot on that floor, I gave them all I had.
And it's funny, like two of your again, the moment makes it even bigger. But two of your best games, arguably, were in the NCAA tournament. 2 years ago against A&M Corpus Christi, you hit them for 19 and 15, and then last year in the biggest game in Bama program history, most likely, you went double against Clemson to get to the Final Four. So big games. Is that your thing? Do you zone better in a big game? Do you live for the big games? Jamari's talking about big games make him tingly. Talk about big games for Nick Pringle.
Yeah, man. I a lot of people ask me if I get nervous in those type of environments, but I mean it's always a no for me. Like I just I feel like I'm built for it. I feel like I'm always prepared for it. My game never determined. Well, it didn't used to determine like whether I scored the ball or not. It was whether if I gave effort, if I gave energy, whatever. Like if I, coached my teammate up, it was the little things that ultimately, made me have those big games. So, I always felt prepared for the moment, and the nervousness never really, hit me for real. So like, I feel like I'm always prepared for those. I mean, I'm always, been an underdog. So I guess that scenario always, helped me, try to prove others wrong as well. So, I just always try to make the most of every situation I was put in.
So Chip, you still got one of those?
Oh yeah, I'm a Pringle. Pringle boys always got a chip on their shoulder. So I like to handle business.
Nick Pringle hanging out with us, another newcomer to Carolina men's basketball here on the halftime show on the game live from CLA. We're here all day. Nick, you brought it up. I mean, again, I can sit and look at stats all day, but also you're a guy that has made your bones on the defensive end of the court, effort, physicality. Am I wrong in what I'm saying just now?
No, you're not at all. You're not.
So when you leave Alabama, because you're leaving a team just went to the Final Four, has a lot of momentum. Things are going great for Nate Oates, besides the Jackets. Things are cool. But you decide to go into the portal. Is that where it's like, look, obviously you want to keep winning because nobody wants to go lose. But were you looking at it like, I want to also expand my game, whether it's my offensive game, whatever it is. It was just more of like, I'm taking a step back, looking at me at this point now and seeing what can benefit me and expanding my game to make me the best Nick Pringle I can be. Is that why we're sitting here?
I mean, most definitely. I was just looking for a scenario where, I feel like I could grow in a lot of different facets. I mean, I feel like, the rest of my game was really like, overshadowed, in my career. And I knew I had it to me. It was just, what was the coach that can bring it out of me? And I feel like I wanted to surround myself by the right people and the right coaches to, help me get to that point in my life. And I mean, I feel like I definitely made the right decision. So, and I feel like, at Bama, I was a big part of that, whether it was points on the board, whether it was, anything. But I feel like my leadership did the most, for that team last year. And, me going to another team, I feel like I can bring that same infectious, vibe to a team to help us, be successful. And I mean, with the added role that Coach Paris has for me, I mean, I feel like it's a lot that can come with that.
You just gave me 4 questions to ask you off of that answer, so I got to figure out which one I want to do next. When you talk about expanding your game and you talk to, and I just love this LP thing. When you talk to LP and you're sitting there and Coach Paris is talking about you coming here, and he said, about expanding your game. What do you forget everybody else? What does Nick Pringle want to expand in this game?
Really, I mean, it was really to really just have more touches. I mean, I've been at Bama for 2 years. I literally sat in the dunkers. I mean, I got it here and there. If I got it, it was off a rebound. There were really no plays made for me, but I was okay, with setting my guys up to score because I know who was on the floor, where they wanted to get to, and that's one of the most important, pieces of being a teammate. So, knowing that and doing that, I can do that anywhere, So me being able to, add facets as, touching the ball in the paint, slowing down, making moves in the paint, using my athleticism, shot fakes, like just things like that. Like, I mean, still creating for my team. I just wanted to add all those facets into one and, you know, make the most of my team.
Forgive me if Terry's already asked this, just hop back on here, but you play with intensity. Is that natural? Is that coach? Where does that come from?
That's definitely natural. I feel like I've always had that, you know, to me. I wasn't the most athletic growing up, but, you know, that intensity and the talk was always there for me. And I feel like, you know, that's what really, you know, helped me get to this point, especially with my leadership, because a lot of people feed off, you know, my energy and what I do and what I say. So I always try to make sure I say the right things, do the right things, so, you know, people can, you know, feed off of that.
Nick, I'll say it for him. Pringle boys have a chip.
Yeah.
Am I right, Nick?
Yeah.
So Nick and I have gone over
it
this.
writes itself. Are you a fan of the chip? You like the chip?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I mean, Pringles, you know, Pringles haven't, you know, sent me that.
There's still time.
Yeah, I
There's
mean,
still time.
It's I didn't have the mustache part, so
you like that mustache? You go with it? You gonna keep it?
I'm good with it. I mean, I didn't have this like 2 years ago when they told me no, but like it's like okay. I mean, I'm the original Pringle anyway.
Now, did you get teased about that growing up at all?
Oh yeah,
by having a last name?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really take it as teasing. I mean, I like it. I mean,
they're worse last names to have.
Trust me. Oh, believe me, there are a lot of them.
It is.
Nick Pringle hanging out with us, one of the newcomers for Gamecock basketball here on the halftime show live from CLA. You got no? I got one. No, I had a bunch of them.
Keep rolling. Keep rolling. You're good.
Cool. The other thing you talked about with yourself and like the bigger picture and what you bring to the table. And obviously, it more touches offensively to kind of show. I mean, you had 40-some dunks last year. I mean, you've been a dunking machine, and you just want to kind of evolve and expand your game.
Definitely.
You talk about leadership. Now, you're a new guy, even though you've been here a ton in Columbia. You grew up in South Carolina. You come in with some veteran guys on this team. So leadership, I always think leadership is something that just evolves naturally. You are who you are. Some people are leaders, and God love them, some people just aren't. That's not a criticism, just some people are and they aren't. How do you feel? What level are you at? So you're new. You just got here. You haven't been here long. How do you feel like you're evolving in the locker room with some veteran guys, you being a leader that you were at Alabama?
I mean, it's very easy. I mean, I feel like you said, it's very natural. I mean, so it's very easy, especially, you know, the personality that I have. I bring a lot of guys in, so you know, they're willing to listen. They know where I've been. I don't like, you know, talking about it a lot, but they know. So they kind of, you know, just pick up off a lot of things that I say. It's not a lot of arguing when I say something, you know, and I'm still growing as being a, you know, as taking feedback as well, you know, from my teammates as well, you know, because they tell me stuff a lot too that I can get better at. And, you know, I try to, you know, do the best I can to be that better teammate for them as well. So, you know.
I asked you a similar question when you joined us out at Firehouse a couple of weeks ago, but I want to follow up on that. Now you've actually gotten to practice, play some games, those kind of things with this team. You've seen what a Final Four caliber team looks like from the inside, from being there at Alabama. What do you like about this team that tells you there is good tournament potential in this crew?
Really, I mean, I love the length and athleticism about this team. I love the fight that we have. You know, Coach always, you know, preaches to us to be, you know, simple, keep it simple, take care of the ball, you know, and play defense. I feel like defense is a big part of what we're gonna do this year. I mean, I've been in college for 4 years, going on 5. Like, I mean, I haven't felt like I've been a better post defender ever at any school I've been at. So, him teaching us to be tough, chest up. You know, I've never really learned how to actually guard in the post for real, because, you know, at Bama practices is really guard heavy. So I mean, it's not really post defense that you're playing. So me having the repetition playing against, you know, Benjamin Verdonk, you know, at 250, 260, like every day, like that's insane.
He's a big boy.
And, you know, playing against Colin Murray Bulls, like that's preparing me for these guys in this league that's not even as big or skilled as them. So, you know, me being able to do that every day is just, you know, taking me to a whole nother level defensively. And so I want to, you know, add with that, you know, offensively and, you know, try to become a, you know, NBA prospect.
All right, last question for you. We appreciate you hanging out with us, man. You know, again, Nate Oates is obviously massively successful. Successful at Buffalo, obviously getting Alabama to a Final Four. And, you know, we always hear about it's threes and drives to the hoop and free throws and dunks and everything and anything in between. Hey, whoa, we ain't doing any of that. And obviously Coach Paris is different. Forget like basketballish, I guess. Personality-wise, how much different is Nate Oates and Lamont Paris?
I don't even know if I'm going to get into detail about that. Well, I'm not going to lie, but literally, I'll probably say, you know, Nate Oates is a great guy, but I mean, I say, you know, probably like the total opposite. Like he's just a, you know, calm, collective guy that just wants to teach, no matter the mistake you make. Like no matter what you do, he's the same guy all the time. So, you just know what to expect out of him, and he's just a great teacher and he's a great guy all around.
All right, give me because you say Lamont's calm. All right, when he gets annoyed, is it because he probably stays even? Was there an eye thing? Is there a twitch of his eye? Does his hair do something weird? When do you know Lamont's annoyed?
He probably get a little side eye or something like that, or just blow the whistle and stop practice in general, just to give a little speech real quick and make us shake back. So we know when he's really serious. So I mean, we just try not to get him to that point and try to do everything to the T. And we've been doing that a lot so far. So I mean, I'm really happy with what we have, and I mean it's gonna be a great season.
Nick Pringle, we appreciate you, man. Good luck with everything here, even though you can be a tour guide in Columbia, man. We appreciate you coming on and hanging with us. Good luck this year. We're looking forward to watching you play.
Yes, sir. Appreciate
All right,
you, man.
thank you. That's Nick Pringle. We are going to, let's see, next up is
Jacoby Wright.
Jacoby Wright will
Yep.
be next as we continue rolling, talking to some dudes from the South Carolina men's basketball team live here at CLA as we are tipping off the 2024-2025 season all day today, right here on the game. It's a halftime show with Terry Ford and Tyler Head and Ed Bird back at Mission Control punching the buttons. We're here till 3 on the game. We're preempting the text of the hour. We're going to talk to Jacoby Wright. No offense to our texters.
It's a little more important.
That's right, Jacoby Wright in here. You know, we've been talking to newcomers. Now we get the grizzled veteran dude who has been here 4 years, man.
Yes, sir.
Fly by for you?
Definitely. It goes by quicker and quicker every year. So, but hopefully this year slow down a little bit for me.
I'm telling you. You know, you've got a great perspective because, I mean, you were here for the last year, Frank.
Mhm.
You were here for the first year, Lamont. Then
Mhm.
you were here for last year's huge turnaround that, quote unquote, shocked the country.
Right.
You've gone through a lot, man.
Yeah, man.
Nothing phases you at this point, does it?
Not really. Not too much.
All right, so let's go through the stages. First of all, your first year with Lamont.
Mhm.
Obviously, you know, you guys, it's a rebuild. A lot of guys leave, you stayed. There's going to be struggles in a rebuild.
Mhm.
In that first year, though, when everything, you know, again, you guys he's laying the groundwork for his program. What was going through your mind in that early stages? Because a lot of people will see loss, and go, what vibe were you feeling? Even though you guys might not be getting the wins, what were you seeing and feeling in the practices and in the back end, so to speak?
Yes. When you have a change like that, a lot goes on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't see. But even though we were losing a lot, I felt like a lot of our games were competitive and close, especially in the second half of the season. So I just kind of started to see, like, once everybody figures it out and he gets comfortable here, everything will be able to work. And then just talking to him, you know, it takes time to get the players that fit his play style.
Mhm.
And I just felt like that was me. Well, I was one of the pieces. So I decided to stay with him. And once we got all the pieces to the puzzle that we needed, it worked out for us.
All right, at what point last year did you go, oh, bleep, we got this, man? Was it the Kentucky game? Was it the Tennessee game? Was it a game before, maybe? When did it hit you and go, yeah, we're going to be really good?
The first game was when we beat Virginia Tech. I was like, okay, it's a big win. And then once we went to Arizona and won the tournament out there, I felt like we were kind of clicking a little bit. And then once we beat Kentucky and Tennessee on the road, I think Tennessee on the road was probably the final one where I was like,
what was that locker room like in Knoxville when you beat them on their home court and you get the silence? Because it's beautiful on the road to get the silence. What was it like in the locker room?
We got crazy in there. It was a lot of excitement, a lot of celebrating because it's hard to win in Tennessee on the road. And that was my first time doing it. So
How do you rate Coach Parrish's locker room dances after those wins?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, yeah. 10 out of 10.
Now, if it wasn't a 10 out of 10, would you tell us?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I would.
Terry alluded to it again. You've been around here for a long time. In today's world of just college sports in general, most guys don't stick in one place, especially when you deal with the coaching change like you did. How long did it take you to buy into what Coach Parrish was doing? Because any coach can come in and say the right things, but when the results aren't there right at the gate, I'm sure a lot of people were skeptical, saying, I don't know if this is going to work or not. What was that like? What was that like from your perspective?
Yeah, so the first time when he first got there, he was just kind of telling me, like, showing me his history and how he's won at every single school he's been at. So that was my first belief point. And then after my first year with him, we had another meeting every year. And he was just telling me how I'm one of the pieces that he needs. And, you know, like I said earlier, at the second half of the year, we started winning a little bit more. And we were even competitive with, like, Alabama here. It was close. We just had a lot of close games. He was like, you know, I really do believe. So I just bought into it, and it worked out for me.
Jacoby Wright hanging out with us, talking some Carolina men's basketball here on the halftime show, live from CLA as we're tipping off the 2024-2025 college basketball season. Let's talk about you for a minute. Obviously, we've seen it. You can hit some threes. You hit some pretty big threes over your time. So coming into this year, what does Jacoby Wright want to do to expand his game? Because, I mean, you again, three-point line, you're all right. Where you want to go from there?
You know, just keep building on that, get my percentages a little higher from behind the arc. I have to do a little bit more leading this year, being the older guy, helping the younger guys come along, just being consistent, keeping a good assist-to-turnover ratio, and just playing my game and improving on every area a little bit by little bit.
Are you going to get touches of the 1 and the 2 this year?
Yeah, I play a little bit of both, depending on the lineup.
One of the big rally cries for this team last year was the disrespect laid on y'all before the season, where everyone picked y'all. Finished last this year, not much better, 11th, and not projected to be in the NCAA tournament. What's that conversation like in the locker room? Are you still paying attention to that? Is it still the same motivating factor that it was a year ago?
Yeah, I mean, we pay a little attention to it. You know, people send it to us. We talk about it in the locker room, but we just use it as motivation. You know, it's okay being an underdog because you go into the game with a little chip on your shoulder. So that's kind of how we use it.
Now, Lamont Parrish last year at SEC BD Days looked a little aggravated by being picked that low.
Mm-hmm.
How aggravated was he? behind the scenes about being picked that low?
Yeah, it was a little frustrating knowing that we got a lot of good players in, and even after having a good year, they still put us down there. But that's all right. Like I said, it's motivation and give us something to go into the game with a little extra fire.
Now you're a veteran squad, but you have some newcomers coming in who are also veteran guys. How is it? 'Cause again, it's so transient now. How is it for you being an anchor, and you are one of the anchors? How is it? You see guys come in, you see guys go out, you see guys come in. How does Jacoby Wright handle all that?
I don't know. It's not too hard for me simply just because I've been here, so I just kind of help where I can get guys to be able to fit in here, and I just stay the same and do what I do best.
Jacoby Wright's always good seeing you, my man. We appreciate you like always. Good luck this year. All right, we're looking forward to seeing you.
Appreciate you guys.
All
having me.
right,
stuff,
thank
man.
you. Live from CLA, it's a halftime show. We're here all day, kicking off the men's and women's basketball season right here on the game. Hanging out live from CLA, tipping off the 2024-2025 men's and women's college basketball season halftime show. Terry Ford, Tyler Ed Bird back at Mission Control punching buttons. And yeah, we're just sitting around here, and I guess Miles Studi heard there was chicken, so he came on over. How you doing, man?
Came over and grabbed a piece. I'm
That's
doing
right.
good.
How
How
good
about
is
you
that
guys?
stuff? It's
good.
ridiculous,
Yeah,
isn't
that
it?
sauce is
Shout
really
out to our
good,
guy
too.
Sam, man.
Yeah,
He's a
love
legend.
Sam.
sir.
I've had 5 sticks and about 100. It's ridiculous. I can't stop. All right. So, man, first of all, how you doing? You 100%? You ready to go?
Yes,
Body
sir.
parts all ready to rock
Yes,
and roll?
sir. Everything's all good.
Good.
Had some time to rest in the off season and put a little work in, so I'm excited.
Good. I mean, last year had to be kind of like bittersweet with you because one, your team had so much success,
Mhm.
and you, when you were on the court, you were a big part of that success.
Yes, sir.
It was just keeping you on the court last year.
Yeah,
You had,
it's a
and
little
it's
tough.
those nagging injuries, right? It's that
Mhm.
stuff that, it's not major, but it's just
Right.
enough to keep you off the court. And
Right.
how much did that drive you nuts last year?
Man, it drove me crazy last year, especially towards the end of the year when we, started getting into the postseason play and playing in the tournament, stuff like that. It really drove me crazy, to be honest with you. So that definitely added some fuel to the fire this offseason to just, really shake things out and try and give my best effort this upcoming season and allow my body to just be at 100%.
I got to ask, does it feel like you've been in college forever?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest.
Going into year number 5, I mean, your first season was the post-COVID year
Mhm.
back in 2020-21, and a lot's changed in college sports and college basketball since then. And, man, you're still around, but we're glad to have you here.
No, I'm glad to be here, man. It's been a joy so far for sure. And the start of year 2 is just looking to build on things from last year.
You talked about this off season, and again, a season like that will drive you nuts. You're like, look, I'm going to dive into this thing.
For sure.
I'm gonna talk to every nutritionist and medical person. I'm going to do
Whatever I can do.
everything. And so
Hell
give
yeah.
us some of the Miles Studi off season workout
Mhm.
plan that you ended up rolling this year.
Yeah, no, for sure. Definitely just added a lot of mobility stuff, things to try and prevent injuries from happening in the first place and strengthen my foundation. Definitely did a lot of core work. I had a little that hip pointer towards the end of the season that happened versus Arkansas in the SC tournament. So was really just trying to get my core back established and get things back strong and moving forward. And I got my legs back up under me with that leg injury. So everything's just back to feeling 100%. Like I said, definitely just did put a lot of work in. I was in the gym whenever I was able to be. When I wasn't giving my body rest, and like I said, just put a lot of time in the gym this off season.
You never knew what that core thing was, man. It's
Yeah.
a million little
Yeah.
stupid muscles, and if you don't
Yeah.
take care of them, weird stuff happens to
Right.
you.
Right. Yeah. I caught an elbow and it just didn't go away for a couple months, man. It was weird. And I had to go get a procedure called a PRP,
Yep.
platelet rich plasma
Mhm.
procedure. And it was an injection, sat out for a couple weeks after that and then got right back to it. So been feeling really, really good since then. Yeah.
So we talked to a couple of your teammates, Nick and Jamari, in the last hour, and those guys obviously coming in out of the transfer portal like you were a season ago. Now that you've been here for a year, what's your perspective on these guys coming in? How are you excited about what this team looks like in year 2 here at Carolina?
Man, definitely excited. I don't even think excited is really the word for how I feel about this team coming into year 2. Like you said, we added a couple pieces and guys like Nick and Jamari, just to name a few, and those guys are going to be really, really big contributors for us on the court this year, especially. And Nick, I think that's a really big piece. I think he's somebody that kind of lifts our ceiling a little bit as a team, just with his athleticism and his defensive ability to kind of block shots and alter guys from coming to the rim a little bit. Definitely helps us out in the long run as a team. And then a guy like Jamari, he's kind of been around the college game a little bit. He's definitely more of an experienced player coming out of the portal. And it's just he's been a joy to play with as well. It's been a joy to kind of build that chemistry with these guys and learn their games inside and out and just to learn these guys as well off the court. It's been a joy so far for sure.
Miles Studi hanging out with us as we are at CLA, broadcasting live all day, getting you ready for the upcoming men's and women's college basketball season here on the game. All right, so you came in
Yes, sir.
blind from Vandy, and so
Yeah.
you had a year under your belt, and then you got new guys coming in like Jamari and Nick.
Mhm.
All right, what's the one thing if there was one thing that we said, okay, you had to cut it to one thing to
Yeah.
tell new guys when they come in to come play for Lamont and to
Mhm.
play at South Carolina, what's that one thing you would tell a new guy?
I say have fun. At the end, they just go out there and try your best. But at the end, they have fun. Like that's definitely what we try to do as a team. Defensively, we're gonna make it gritty and make teams hate to come and play us. But offensively, we want to spread the ball and share the sugar and have fun out there. So definitely just have fun.
Again, you've been around the game for a while, but spent the entire time in the SEC. And looking at this year, 8 teams coming. 8 teams last year made the tournament. You bring in Texas and Oklahoma. Is this the strongest you've ever seen the conference for the season we're about to see coming up this year?
I gotta say for sure, definitely coming in like preseason. Looking in and seeing, I think it was 9 out of the top 25 teams are SEC teams. So I think just that stat alone kind of depicts how deep this league is this year. And I'm excited to come in with that chip on our shoulder just like we did last year.
Miles Studi hanging out with us, talking some ball here on the halftime show on the game from CLA. All right, so obviously I don't have to tell you, you're pretty bleeping good at shooting threes.
Yes, sir. I
You are
appreciate it.
really good.
A lot of work in there.
Yeah, well, absolutely. That's a lot of. Do you do the 1,000 a day drill, or do you
yeah.
do the 13s?
Oh, yeah,
or
I try to get up to 1,000 makes a day. Yeah, as much as I can.
That 13 drill is great. You got to make 7. You got to make 7 out of 13 to go to the next spot. And some of us takes a lot longer. I get you hit the 13 drill pretty quick.
For sure. Yeah. I had to change it a little bit actually and start doing 10 for 12.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I hate you, by the way. I'm really jealous of you. I hate you. Mine's hit the rim. Mine's hit the rim 7 times. I can move to the next one.
Close enough.
But anyway, so what does Miles Studi want to do this year, game wise? Because again, you can nail it from 3, and that can open up so many things for you. Come playing off of that. What are you looking for yourself personally for Miles Studi in your final year to expand your game and do differently?
I think I just want to start out defensively, just coming out and being a dog. I think last year I was solid defensively, but I think this year I want that to be one of my assets and one of my, like calling cards being on the court is just being a really, really tough-minded, hard-nosed defender. And then past that, offensively, I definitely want to be able to just attack closeouts more efficiently. So, when guys are flying me off the three-point line and running me off there, I'm able to make smart decisions, whether it's getting to something like a 2-dribble pull-up or just getting 2 feet in the paint and making the right decision, whether it's to find an open man or score for myself. And I also added a lot of my post game this offseason, just face up jab, pump fake jab, ripping through guys, getting to the baseline, and playing out my pump fake once I get 2 feet in the paint as well.
And when people look at South Carolina under Coach Parrish, they always think defense first and one of the best teams in the SEC. I did that a year ago, but from your perspective, how much more of a step forward can this offense take this year?
Oh, I think we can definitely take a big step forward this year, especially with the guys that we brought in. I think with these guys, our play styles just gel even more well together than last year's team did. Not to say that it didn't in any way, but I just think that this year we can definitely take a step forward and how well our play styles kind of coexist out there on the floor, how well we just, have a really fluid offense. I like to put it that way. Our offense is going to be very fluid this year.
We've been talking to all the guys about, Coach Parrish, and obviously you went in the portal, and Coach Parrish recruited you out of the portal. And you played for Jerry Stackhouse, man.
Sure.
I mean, you're playing for a guy that did it on a high level in college and the NBA. And by the way, his ties cost more than my entire wardrobe. And so talk about Lamont and just what it's like with Coach Parrish from your other, not to dog on anybody else, but just from your experiences with Coach Parrish.
Man, it's been amazing just to kind of soak in some of the knowledge and understanding that Coach Parrish has put into myself just over the past year so far. He's definitely just allowed me to take a step in the mindset of the game, not more so, physically, of course, you want to make as many shots as you can and do things like that. But he's allowed me to kind of like see the game and think the game before things happen out there through our film sessions and just through the, morning workouts that he'll be in the gym with me doing at 8 a.m. And it's just been, a blessing to be under the coaching guidance so far of Coach Parrish. He's been a joy.
8 a.m.?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Are you a morning person? Can you go out there and roll at 8 a.m. or you got sleepy eyes and you're okay at 8 a.m.?
You're used to it. You're used to it.
You get used to it.
Now, does LP bring the energy at 8 a.m.? Is he wired and ready to go?
He's ready to go. Like I feel like as soon as he gets out of bed, he's thinking basketball.
He strikes me as a guy that wakes up at like 4 o'clock when he doesn't have to.
Does he have quarter zip pajamas?
I believe it. He probably does. He probably does.
Do you guys ever get to see his arms, or is it just always quarter zips?
Always quarter zips.
I'm like, I think when y'all went, it was the Bahamas, right, last year?
Yeah.
I think that's the only time I've ever seen him in anything other than a quarter zip when he had the Hawaiian shirt on, or something like that. I'm like, so that's what his arms look like.
You guys give him grief on the quarter zips?
Oh no, not at all. I love him. I want a couple for myself, honestly.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Miles Studi hanging out with us, talking some ball here on the halftime show as we are really tipping off the college basketball season for the men and the women here at CLA. All right, so all coaches have stories.
Yes, sir.
They're great storytellers.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you about back when I played at Worcester, or let me tell you when I coached with Coach Ryan.
Yeah.
All right, give me a Lamont Parrish story that sticks in your head.
I say the biggest one is a story that he gives us actually about the championship game with Duke. actually not even the championship game with Duke, but back when he was coaching at Wisconsin, when they played Kentucky,
Mhm.
and just the difference in how his Wisconsin players approached that game and how you could tell the Kentucky players approached that game. They had a perfect season. They were 38-1 after that game, but you could just tell in the mindset and just the way that the players on Wisconsin just operated. On the floor, there was no fear, there was no anxiety, just out there like robots almost. And that story that he told us really stood out in my mind because it showed me how to conduct myself on the court. Yeah.
When you mentioned him coaching at Wisconsin, of course, he took the Chattanooga team to the NCAA tournament before coming here to South Carolina. What does his pedigree mean to you as a player when you look back and we're being recruited by him to come out of the transfer portal? When you look back at what he'd done prior to coming to South Carolina, what value does that hold to you as a player?
It means a lot because especially with the positions that he was in during those times and those tenures, you know what I mean? Like he being an assistant coach, he was really in the trenches with those players. He was, the person in those film sessions and doing the work, and really behind that stuff. So that those detailed oriented type of things mean a lot to me as a player because it shows that he has put that work in and he's earned everything that he's gotten so far.
I'll studio with us. Last thing for you, my man. We appreciate you popping in and hanging out with
problem.
us. And take some chicken with you. Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
We talk about you guys going into last year, and a lot has been made of the chip that you guys carried from where you were picked preseason in the SEC.
Sure.
And everybody, it was a real thing. It isn't just just like talking to talk, but you guys really carried we're a lot better than you think, and now we're going to show you.
Exactly.
Does that feel like, because some programs are comfortable always being the underdog and some programs are comfortable not being the underdog.
Mhm.
And again, this year you guys are got 11th preseason. For what you guys care, no one cares, right?
Yeah.
Because once you throw the thing up,
Exactly.
it's ball,
Numbers
right?
mean
And numbers mean
squat.
nothing.
Yeah.
Do you guys? Is it more of a carry of you guys can continue just to look at us the way you want to look at us, and we're going to continue to come out here and beat you?
Exactly.
Is that kind of where you guys carry it now?
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And Coach LP's kind of just put that identity within us and it's told us just go out and prove it. Like you said, once you throw the ball in the air, the numbers mean absolutely nothing, and they're going to change after the game once we beat them. So, it's really just a mindset of going out there and proving it every single time you're out there, whether it's practice, whether it's a workout, whether it's a game, just always having that same mindset of how you do anything is how you do everything.
Very nice. You making fun of Nick Pringle's mustache?
A little bit. Yeah. Call him the Pringle Man. That's my dog.
He's a good dude. We sat here. He was talking about that. He couldn't have it in Alabama, right? Didn't he say he couldn't have the mustache?
Yeah,
in
man,
Bama or
cut
whatever?
it.
Yeah. So I said, "You gonna keep that all year?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Okay, you do you, my man."
He's a joy, man. He's hilarious.
Oh, that's fantastic. Miles Studi, we appreciate you. Go out there, stay healthy, and have a great year. Okay, my friend.
Yes, sir. I
Thanks a lot
appreciate
for
it.
coming here and
Absolutely.
hanging out
Thanks,
with us.
man. Good to
No
see you.
doubt.
Thanks a lot, and again, enjoy the buffet we have here.
Man.
Enjoy it. We're at the halftime show. We're here at CLA. We're going to be here up until 6 o'clock. Jay and Elijah will be here for the post game show as well. We're going to flip over and talk some Carolina football a little bit. Get Shane
Right.
Beamer. He talked to the media yesterday. We'll get some Shane getting ready for A&M on Saturday at Williams-Brice. Halftime show from the Colonial Life Arena up until 6 here on the game. We are hanging here at the Colonial Life Arena broadcasting live thanks to our friends at Atkins Law and also at Colonial Craft. We kick this until 6 o'clock. It's our tip-off for the 2024-2025 college basketball season. We're going to talk to Lamont Paris's his coach.
That's right.
Coach Lamont to be the coach he is today. Coach Steve Moore from Worcester will be on with us here at 1:30. Let's flip over to a little football. Since it technically is football in the 1 o'clock hour usually.
That's right.
Not today. But let's talk a little football. Shane Beamer talking to the media. Ed Bird, we're going to grab. What cut are we going to grab again?
14.
We're going to get cut 14 ready there, Ed Bird, for Shane Beamer. Well, Shane obviously talking to the media at his Tuesday presser. A&M on Saturday. We'll get more and more into A&M as the week goes along. But for South Carolina coming off this bye week, you look at, we got into it a bit yesterday. Look, you're self-scouting. You're looking at some things that, okay, what do we do really well? What can we do better? Maybe we should do more of this and less of this. How can we grow this way? How can we evolve this way? Make sure everybody's healthy. So really the health, it seems like, besides DeAndre Jules, everyone else is ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, relatively good to get Jared Brown back. And we talked about that yesterday, having him and Laura Verdane back really at the same time for the first time this year. Hopefully he's going to help that wide receiver room come along as you go up against this A&M defense on Saturday.
All right, here's Shane. You're ready to roll. Ed Bird, cut 14. Talk about any schematic changes. I find it very difficult to do a whole lot of schematic change in just one bye week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we'll get into this after we hear from Shane. Given the history of what they've done in the past couple of Novembers, you would think something can change. How much it changes, we don't know yet.
Right, you can tweak.
Sure.
But, how much wholesale? Like, they're not going to come out and run the wishbone.
No, well.
No, and they're going to come out and run a 110 defense. It's going to be tweaks to what they do. Hit it, Ed.
No, but I think you're always looking, I wouldn't say changes to scheme, but you're always looking at how we can be better and more efficient. And certainly we need to be better, not just on offense, but in other areas, defensively, special teams. And you're always looking at where we can be better. What's the next step? We've been doing a lot of this offensively, defensively, and special teams. What's the next thing off of this? So you're certainly always looking to do that. So are we going to look like a completely different football team out there Saturday night? I don't think so. But will there be some tweaks that you always adjust, whether it be game plan specific based on what A&M does, or tweaks that we made, throughout the bye week to continue to try and be more efficient? Absolutely.
2 years ago, we saw changes in the offense. Basically, let's run less plays. Let's run the plays we're really good at. Let's have the players, how about play and not think? Let's make it streamlined. And we saw the offense take off last year. Defense isn't working. What can we do? They switched and started playing a lot of 3-3-5, and the defense got really good.
Yeah, and it begs the question of, okay, you obviously look at the offensive side of the ball this year and say things need to improve here. Right. How much can you improve? Because, again, when you go back to a couple seasons ago, you did have a very experienced quarterback in Spencer Rattler running that offense. And, yes, it was even maybe a little too complicated for his liking at that point in time. And when he simplified it, you had a lot of star players around him that could help him move things along, and they certainly did in those last couple games, leading to the upsets of Tennessee and Clemson. When you have a different cast of characters, to say the least here, I don't know how much can change, but you would like to see something positive from the offense in this last month that we have not seen consistently enough so far this season.
Remember that tweak of 2 years ago, or the tweaks on offense, Spencer Rattler, a grizzled veteran quarterback with a lot of starts. Lenore Sellers, not a grizzled veteran quarterback with a lot of starts. So how much tweaking can you do? And going back to our original point of our conversation, are you basically looking at, okay, obviously we want Linares to grow and get better, but what does Linares do really well right now? What does this offense do really well? What does this offensive line block really well? Let's start looking at the things we do well, and let's concentrate on that a bit while we still continue to grow and evolve and things of that nature. It almost feels like you might see that, or maybe there's something they've been they've been looking at in practice for a bit. Now they want to unleash it coming out of a bye week because maybe A&M does some things defensively that leads to what they might want to do.
And we also talked about this yesterday, the importance, and you do have 2 bye weeks this year, the importance of everybody being healthy at this bye week. Because you go back to, the first one after the Akron game. Well, Lenore Sellers missed the Akron game because he was injured. Rocket Sanders got hurt in the Akron game. So you had 2 of your most important guys on offense that were not fully healthy. So whatever things you could have improved on or could have kind of developed in those couple days where you're focusing on an opponent, you probably couldn't do that to the degree that you wanted to. Now you have everybody healthy, have everybody in. Again, you get Jared Brown back to go along with Gage Larvadan, who's made his return in these past couple games. How much can that help? It may be nothing, but I would think there can be some kind of degree of improvement just having everybody there fully healthy, 100% participating and ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, the offense, it's the healthiest the offense has been since the start of the season. So we'll see what gets unleashed against A&M. Now, Texas A&M, teams have thrown on A&M for success. And
Yep.
we'll get more into that as the week goes along. But there are some DBs you can look out for and pick on in the A&M secondary. So how much of that equates to, okay, we can throw the football against these guys. But you never get away from who you are right now, which is a running team.
Right.
But what can you do in the passing game to make A&M pay? That's the kind of stuff we'll see. And we'll see, again, run game-wise, what are you going to do against a very stout defensive front that Texas A&M is going to bring on Saturday?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, your defense is going to give you an opportunity in all these games. As you talked about a little bit earlier, you can't put yourself in a hole. And yes, they were able to come back from the 17-0 hole against Alabama, but that's not something you can rely on happening every single game. And, you're going to want your defense to have to generate pressure, get sacks and those kind of things, but your offense is going to have to step up. They're going to have to score points. They're going to have to give your defense a break as well, because as fast as that Texas A&M offense can go, the last thing you want to do is have them score, get them off the field on a 3-and-out, and then you go out and 3-and-out, and guess what? Your defense is right back out there again. So you got to give your defense an opportunity to catch their breath, take a break, and just give them a little bit of support on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah, we'll see, again, what South Carolina does regarding changes, tweaks, whatever, when it comes to their systems of offense and defense. Defense is fine.
Yeah,
They
defense
do a
is
whole
great.
lot of tweaking there.
The defense is fine.
Yeah, the defense is fine. Offensively, again, let me ask you this really quick.
Okay.
Did you think the offense would be farther along at this point? Now that we're sitting on the 1st of November almost.
I had hoped so. Again, we've seen plenty of flashes of potential, but it's not been consistent. Again, we know Sellers has all the tools. He has the athleticism, everything that you want in a quarterback that should lead to success. It just has not been as consistent as we would like it to. It doesn't mean it can't make that step in the last month of the season, as we've seen Shane Beamer teams do in the past. But if you're asking me through a 7-game assessment, do I think the offense is where I thought they were going to be? I do not.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a little bit farther along. Especially in the passing offense. I thought it would take, the month of September to everybody get used to each other. And remember, you're bringing in all these receivers from all these different places. Your quarterback is a first-time starter. You've added a couple guys in the portal on the offensive line. You've got roughly 3 new starters on the O-line, really 4, because Casey Henry started 1 game.
Yep.
I knew that when you have all these pieces, it was going to take a little bit to get ramped up.
Sure.
So I understood that. I thought they'd be a little bit farther along than they are now. I didn't think they were going to be Joe Burrow LSU, but I thought they would be a little bit more consistent in their productivity, if that makes sense.
A little bit farther along to the point where you're not sweating it going into every single game. Because if you told me on Saturday, well, Carolina's going to go out there and give you 3 points and, 220 yards of offense, I'm like, I can see that happening. You don't want to see that happen, obviously, but I could believe it if it did happen. So you just want consistency. You want them to be able to hold up their end of the deal because, as we've talked about many times, you don't want to waste this defense this year. You have multiple first-round caliber talents on this defense. You don't want to be going in the offseason saying, man, what could have been if the offense would have been a little bit better.
Right. So we'll continue on with, obviously, conversation about Carolina football in the 2 o'clock hour. We're going to switch back to basketball here in a minute, but first we have tickets.
That's right.
It's Towson, November 2nd, right?
November 12th.
Close enough. There's a 2 and 12. Towson, November 12th. A pair of tickets. Give us a ring right now, 803-404-6100. Caller number 6.
Sure.
It's a pair of tickets to go check out Towson. That's my old hood.
That's right. That is up there. I forgot about that.
One of the 55 schools that I'm banned from. Towson University.
I'll get the story of why you're banned off air.
You can't talk about that on the air. It's not can't really get into that. There's a lot of things that get fined by the FCC.
And that's why you live in South Carolina now.
Exactly. That's why I'm not living in the suburb of Towson in Baltimore. All right. So a pair of tickets to go check out South Carolina and Towson November 12th here at CLA. Caller number 6 at 803-446-100. We're going to come back and talk to a guy that's got a ton of wins, who is very high up on the wins list all time.
The only person that's building that can discipline Lamont Paris.
That's right. The one guy that can tell Lamont to run sprints.
That's right.
Coach Steve Moore, Lamont's coach at Worcester. He's going to jump in here next. We're going to get all the dirt on Lamont Paris.
That's right.
It's coming up. That's next here on the Halftime Show, live from CLA. Terry Ford, Tyler Head, right here on The Game. What we're talking about is Carolina men's and women's basketball getting ready for the season. Both tip November 4th.
At almost the exact same time.
I know.
It's gonna be a busy day.
Yes, it is. The men will be right here on 107.5 The Game.
Yep.
In Columbia and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach, as the men get going against North Florida. The women against Michigan and Vegas, right?
That's correct. Naismith Hall of Fame Classic.
Why aren't we in Vegas?
You know, we couldn't pull those strings. We got to go to the bowl game. That's why.
Yeah, we're saving it for the bowl game.
Saving for the Vegas Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we are here getting everything ready. We've been talking to a bunch of players today, and now we're going to get the dirt on Lamont Paris, the college age version of Lamont Paris. Coach Steve Moore, Lamont's coach, and it was at Worcester.
Yes.
Yes.
College of Worcester.
College of Worcester. First of all, let's talk about you for a minute, Coach Moore. You retired, what, the second winningest coach in Division III history when you retired a few years ago?
I guess that's correct, yes.
Man, over 800 wins or something crazy, over 1,000 wins. I mean, you had an 807 winning percentage. You were pretty good at this coaching thing, weren't you?
We had some very good players. That's for sure. We all know that's what it takes.
Absolutely. It is funny how you get better as a coach when you get better players. Isn't it weird?
That's
Usually helps out.
That's what it's all about.
Hey, Coach, so you had Lamont as a college player. So tell us about Lamont Paris, the 18 to 22-year-old that you had.
Lamont, well, he was a great young man, outstanding personality even then, of course, and was a good player for us without a doubt. And we were just talking on the court with Doug Klein, who was a year ahead of Lamont. They were teammates. The present head coach, Doug Klein, who coached with me for 25 years as assistant coach. But we were just talking about Doug's senior year when Lamont was a junior. We had a tremendous year, and we beat Wittenberg 3 times, and that was a tremendous accomplishment. I don't think anyone had done that
Nice.
up to that point. And Lamont made a behind-the-back pass to Doug to seal the victory. And when he made the pass, I thought, oh, man, no. But then he completed it, and Doug laid it in.
So Lamont goes behind the back with the pass, and of course, you as a coach is going, no,
Yes.
great pass. Let me ask you, think Lamont will let his players throw behind the back passes in crunch time right now?
It's interesting. Lamont coached our JV team the year after he graduated for 2 years, and he got on his players for being non-fundamentally sound, and things that he was doing the year before. It was really something. I knew then he was going to be an outstanding coach.
Did you ever have to really come down on him hard about anything when he was playing for you?
No, not really. Lamont was a guy that just loved to play the game, and he really blossomed as a junior. And he came out. He was a sixth man as a junior, and then as a senior, he was our leader, our MVP, our captain, and he had a great junior and senior year.
Coach Steve Moore hanging out with us, former coach of Worcester, who coached the young Lamont Paris back in the day. As we sit here at CLA, getting you ready for the start of the 2024-2025 college basketball season. We're here up until 6 here on the game in Columbia, Florence, and Myrtle Beach. So junior, senior year, Lamont blossoms and becomes a leader and an MVP. But when he first showed up as a freshman, what was he like when he first hit the campus and he was an 18-year-old? What did you say, all wet behind the ears, so to speak?
Yes. We didn't know how good a player we had in Lamont. In fact, we took a trip to California, and we left Lamont back. He was a freshman, and we had a JV team, and Lamont was a JV player.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some other freshmen who went on the trip, but Lamont was the only guy that ended up playing as a senior out of that class.
Nice.
And he just stayed with it. He worked hard, and was resilient, and so. Yes, like I said, he blossomed as a junior. It was when he really became a player.
Was he somebody that you always saw? I know you said you saw those traits of him a little bit later on in his career, but did you see always from the jump as maybe being a coach type guy when his playing career was over?
I didn't really realize it until he coached the JVs. And when he coached the JVs, I knew it then. He was really good with the JV players. He taught them and he disciplined them. And he was amazing. He made an amazing transformation from a player to a coach.
All right, so obviously he learned a lot from you in his 4 years hanging out with you. What's the one thing when you watch him coach that you kind of say to yourself, yeah, he got that from his time at Worcester?
I think the fundamentals of the game. I think that's the thing we really emphasized in our program for years is being fundamentally sound. I think defensive footwork and passing and taking care of the basketball. I think Lamont grew as a coach because he could teach the game, and he learned, I think, teaching the game fundamentals. And then, of course, he went on and had great mentors after that. Keith Dambrot and Bo Ryan, and just tremendous programs he was involved in. So Lamont really, I think he got his base at Worcester, and then he grew as a coach in his assistant coaching positions.
And you coached only until a couple of years ago. So as he's going along in his career, and even until he's gotten here to South Carolina, is he still going back to you for advice? You're talking to him on the regular. Like, what's that relationship been like as his coaching career has evolved?
Yes, I talk to Lamont pretty much after every game or the day after game, and I don't know if I'm giving advice, just listening to him, and I think that's been a fun thing for me to do, without a doubt, is follow his team. And Jane and I drive down for a couple games a year, and we watch every game on SEC Network when we aren't here. And we're going to go to Bloomington, Indiana, and watch the game there, and we'll be back down to Columbia for a couple more games.
I would, because most people, when they're like coaches, players, they're fine when they're coaching and playing, but they're terrible at watching a game when they're just a fan. Are you a bad fan watching a game now that you're retired, or do you still watch the game as a coach?
It's tough. It's very tough. And of course, I'm at all the College of Worcester games too, and I'm sitting there in the bleachers, and I can't do anything about it. And that's very tough.
Yes.
But you want Coach Klein to do so well, and the Scots to do so well, and same with Lamont, and it's tough.
Who did you learn from? I mean, you're a guy steeped in fundamentals and teaching the game the right way, and you talk about footwork and defense and taking care of the ball and just playing the game fundamentally sound. Who'd you learn from?
Well, I played at Wittenberg, our arch rival, and years ago. But my coach was Bob Hamilton, and Bob Hamilton was a tremendous coach, and I think I learned the game from him. I learned how to compete. I learned how to teach the game, and Bob was an outstanding coach and went to Naval Academy after he left Wittenberg. And Larry Hunter was also a guy that I learned from. He was assistant coach when I was a senior, and then after 2 years, I came back and was his assistant coach. And Larry Hunter was an outstanding coach, and we won the national title in Division III his first year as a coach.
Nice.
And I was assistant coach that year.
So let me get this right. So you eventually coached Wittenberg's rival, Worcester.
Yes, exactly.
So are you dead to them at Wittenberg now? They don't talk your name or speak your name because you beat them 3 times in 1 year.
Well, I was considered the enemy, I guess, for lots of years, but I maintained great relationships there. And it was funny, when we would go back there, people would say, how do you do it? But I would just concentrate on our team. And of course, the gym was different. I played in the old gym. They played in the new gym now. So it was different, but it was a lot of years ago. So I didn't think about the emotional part of it. I just coached my team, and it was a great rivalry, no doubt about it.
What can you tell us about this Worcester team that's coming here to play Coach Barris' crew tonight?
Well, I think it's going to be a very good team. Got a big man, Nick Everett, who I don't know if he'll be able to score tonight against Pringle, the big size that South Carolina has. But Nick's going to have a good year if he stays healthy. He was MVP of the league last year, and he was a key guy. But so I think they'll have a good inside game. They have some good shooters around him. Jameer Billings is a good point guard for Division III. He might struggle against the guards tonight, of course, but he's a good player, and he's his 4th year starting. So they have 4 seniors in the starting lineup, very experienced team. Coach Klein's son, J.J. Klein, is a small forward, and he's really small against Studi and Zach Davis. He's 6'7". J.J.'s only 6'2", but he'll battle. He's a first competitor.
And how much of it is an opportunity for guys on the Worcester team to be able to come in here, play a major Division I program, and maybe turn some heads while they're here too?
This is a tremendous opportunity. No matter how the game goes, it's just a great opportunity. And I know the players are thankful to Coach Paris, and Coach Klein is very thankful to Coach Paris for giving them this opportunity. It's a great experience, no doubt about it.
Yeah, but you're right, though. Experienced squad, a lot of guys who played a lot of games coming in here tonight. And again, we always talk about this. Like we saw the great scene in Hoosiers. Hey, look, it's 10 feet, just like everywhere else.
Yeah.
Once you start playing, right? You don't look around at fancy facilities or, wow, this place is painted nice. No, you're just playing ball.
That's right. Court's 94 by 50 and 10-foot baskets, and the guys will play hard. And Coach Klein emphasized you're going to have to be physical, no doubt about it, because you're going against big guys. They're athletic, and so they're going to have to be very physical and play tough with the basketball without turning it over.
Coach Steve Moore, Lamont Paris's coach back in college at Worcester, retired number 2 all time in wins at Division III. Coach, it's been really great talking with you. We appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Terry Tyler.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Halftime show, Terry Ford Tylerhead live from CLA. Firehouse Up Text the Hour next here on The Game. I'll get our Firehouse sub text the hour at 803-404-6100. I'm sitting here looking at Steve Moore's career.
It's impressive, man. Like
Wow.
I said to you, even the year before he retired, he won the conference's coach of the year. So, I mean, we started in 87 there, from day one to the very end, just playing or performing at a high level, like you said, third all time in the D3 for most wins. And again, has, birthed the career of somebody like Lamont Paris, who, obviously taught him everything he knows up to this point. And is somebody that he mentioned to us a moment ago, still he uses as a reference to continue to get better, continue to grow.
3 Division IV Final Fours, got to the championship game in 06-07. 867 career wins, 807 career winning percentage at Worcester. Man, dude knows ball.
It absolutely.
Ball, man.
And I know people may look at these lower divisions and not think much of it, but there's a lot of high level basketball coaches everywhere, and not all of them get the opportunity to make it to the Division I level or make it to the SEC or the Big 12 or whatever. But there are some great basketball minds through every level of college basketball, and he's a great example of that.
Yeah, I mean, different levels bring a different skill set.
Sure.
And even on Division I, some guys are good at mid-major, some guys are good coaching in a power league. It just different skill set for everywhere. But Steve Moore, coach, man.
That's right.
So Lamont had a good mentor. No doubt about it.
He probably coached us to a couple wins.
Well, let's not get nuts. Yeah. Let's not. You've had too much chicken.
I know.
You're lightheaded.
I'm bogged down.
You're not lightheaded. All right, let's get our Firehouse sub text the hour 803-404-6100. What do you got, boss?
Austin says you can really hear a lot of Coach Paris's voice in his college coach's voice as well, and they are very both calculated in what they say. And when Lamont Paris talks, it's a very thought out, well-educated answer to whatever he's being asked, and you hear a lot of that in what Coach Moore was talking with us there as well.
And you look at two things. I always look at two things with people. One, how do you treat people you can treat like crap?
Yep.
I've always looked at that because I've seen people who can treat people like crap who do, and that tells me a lot about that person.
Yes.
That's number one.
Yep.
And number two, when you make it to a certain level, how do you look back on your journey? And who do you embrace on your journey? And the fact you see Lamont Paris, bringing his coach back from Worcester, Steve Moore, he said he goes with 2-3 games a year. Here's from Lamont pretty much the next day after games.
Yep.
That connection is still there. It just gives you a little bit of background on Lamont Paris as a guy.
Well, and I think, a night like tonight is a perfect opportunity for Lamont Paris to really see everything come full circle because, as he mentioned, his teammate from their times at Worcester is now the head coach there, and is part of the reason why this game is happening tonight with the exhibition. But it's an opportunity to see where you started and see what your beginning of the college journey was. And like you said, he was the JV coach after he graduated, and obviously was able to climb the ladder through Wisconsin, through Chattanooga, to end up getting here at South Carolina, and be able to have a banner saying that you went to the NCAA tournament, which is something that hasn't happened a lot here in this program. So it's a significant accomplishment.
Yeah, and the other part is obviously, this helps Worcester because you get a check.
Oh, for sure.
So he's giving back to his alma mater.
Exactly. And again, as we talked with Coach Moore there, this is an opportunity for those high-level guys that he talked about that are, great players in their own right at the Division III level, maybe turn some heads. And we talk so much about the transfer portal. I know we like to look at guys from other power conferences or mid-majors at the D1 level, but sometimes you can go down and find somebody at one of these lower divisions that maybe had a great game in an exhibition against a power opponent, and somebody that people aren't really talking about, but people that know ball can see those kind of things. And that's an opportunity for maybe one of those guys tonight to really further their own careers if they play well against South Carolina.
And thinking about like Lamont Paris, and we talk about this with the whole thing about Bronny James and all that, and my distaste for nepotism.
That wasn't nepotism, Terry. What are you talking about? He definitely deserved to be drafted.
Absolutely.
He shouldn't still be on Southern Cal's bench right now.
Absolutely.
Did I say that out loud?
Had nothing to do with his dad. Like look at Lamont Paris's journey. Played at Worcester. He didn't play at Power 4.
Yep.
He went from Division III, worked his way up, grinded his way up as an assistant coach here, an assistant coach there, and when you were that guy on that level, you might know somebody or two will make a connection that helps you get, an interview with somebody here or there. That's reality.
Yeah, for sure.
That happens in this world. Sometimes you just need that connection to get the door open for you. But Lamont Paris earned it. He earned where he's at by busting his hump from Division III Worcester to where he's at today, sitting on the bench at South Carolina.
Yeah.
So, I admire those journeys more than Bronny James' journey.
Well, and
Call me crazy.
I know. I think about it from, talking to some of his players in the past couple of hours that, when Coach Perez says, I've literally had to climb my way to get where I am, he's not lying. He's been at a lower division level, and he's had to make his way from being an assistant to being a head coach at a mid-major to get to South Carolina. He's literally seen and done it all in NCAA basketball up to this point.
Nothing will come at him that he doesn't have an experience or a story.
Not at all.
Like Miles Studi was telling the story. And it is a great story. Wisconsin is playing undefeated Kentucky with a ton of first-round NBA draft picks, like Karl Anthony Towns on that team.
Yep.
I think Booker was on that team as well.
Yep.
And they beat Kentucky and knocked them out. That's a story.
That's right.
I mean, there was 2 NBA players in that Wisconsin team.
Right.
All right, we'll get back in here. What's trending at 2? We'll talk some Carolina football and continue talking hoops here from CLA on the Halftime Show. Halftime show, Terry Ford, Tyler Head, Ed Bird, of course, steering the ship for us back at Mission Control. We are at the Colonial Life Arena, getting you ready for the start of the 2024-2025 college basketball season. Men and women get it rolling on Monday, November 4th. The men here against North Florida. The women will be out in Vegas against Michigan. Just look at the women's schedules. We've really concentrated on men's hoops with all of our guests today so far. Dawn was talking about she's having trouble scheduling.
I know people don't want to play him.
Wonder why. They do get Michigan in Vegas on November 4th. NC State's good. UCLA's good. Duke's good.
I believe 5 non-con opponents were in the tournament last year.
Yeah. So she always schedules difficult teams in the knockout.
Always got the UConn game later on in the year.
Yeah. First time I haven't seen Maryland on the schedule in a while.
Yeah, that is true. Going to UCLA.
Yeah, I mean, so Dawn tries to. You schedule tough. I mean, you are South Carolina, and they're going to be an interesting team. They brought in a couple of nice additions in the portal. They have obviously a 10-star freshman in Edwards. You lose Cardoza, and that's really it.
Yeah, for the most part. And Bree Hall is now kind of sliding into the starting lineup, but for the most part, your other 4 are pretty much the same from last year.
And it's interesting when you look at South Carolina, even how last year they became more perimeter oriented. They did. Dawn learned from the loss to Iowa in the Final Four the year before and said, we got to be able, you can't just sag into the paint and dare us to beat you from the perimeter, because we need to be able to beat you from the perimeter. And obviously last year they did.
We didn't get a time to get into this with her earlier. Only had her for 15 minutes, but I really wanted to ask her about that because, and I think back to her, Aflac buddy, Coach Saban, who, had to adapt to the way football was changing with Alabama over the years. Yeah, he was winning national championships with defense and 3 yards in a cloud of dust, but the game was changing. And it was like, okay, if I want to keep doing this, I got to start scoring 35 and 40 points a game, which goes against everything that he wanted to do as a head coach, but he knew to continue playing at a high level, they're going to have to adapt. And you bring in guys like Jalen Hurts and Tua and all those guys that have been playing quarterback since, Bryce Young, and they're obviously that kind of team now, and that's the identity of what that program is. For Dawn Staley, I imagine it's not easy to look at, especially after that loss to Iowa, and say, I got to change my identity. I got to do something different that I've not been doing consistently over the past couple of years and get better on the outside. You go out and get Tahina Paopao from Oregon out of the transfer portal. You bring in a Tessa Johnson who can shoot well from the outside. You change your identity on offense, which is easier said than done.
And you bring in Malaysia Fawali, who has got
dazzling
for days. But you still had Camilo Cardozo where you could play inside out because you had a post presence. This year, right now, there isn't that type of post presence. Maybe somebody will develop as the year goes along to where they're the consistent post presence. Maybe they'll just play more perimeter oriented and just play differently in the paint with, I guess, bigs with a different skill set than Dawn's used to.
Yeah, and kind of looking at the roster, because Cardozo was 6'7". That is a very rare find in today's women's college basketball. But, Askima Walker, Adele Tack, Dowda, they all have good size, but they're not Camilo Cardoso. So how do you use them? Do you still have that dominant low post presence like you have with Cardoso? Is it something that evolves as the season goes along? That's one of the true big question marks about this team, but they've earned the benefit of the doubt.
Oh,
they're going to be good. They're going to be in the mix for the national championship, number 1 in the SEC, projected top seed in the NCAA tournament, which is just at normal at this point when it comes to this program.
All right, so we'll talk more hoops, obviously, between now and 3 o'clock, and then Jay and Elijah will take over on the post-game show, and they'll continue to talk about men's and women's basketball as we are here live at the CLA.
By the way, how cool is it? We literally have the center court from the Final Four hanging over us here.
I know.
And the one over there, they're still working on getting the one from this year up. I know that's coming soon, but literally that is the floor from the national championship.
Trophy case area. Very cool. You see the national championship trophies.
With the nets still hanging on and all the SECs. We took our picture with Dawn in front of a couple of SEC championship games that doesn't even scratch the surface of just how many trophies she's brought to this building.
So we'll continue talking hoops between now and 3 o'clock. Switch gears a little bit, get some Gamecock football in here. Kyle Kennard talking to the media yesterday. We have been discussing this on the show, that South Carolina this year, 4-3, should be 6-1. Let's not sugarcoat it. Should be 6-1.
Could be.
Had LSU beat, couldn't finish the deal. Had Bama beat, couldn't finish the deal. That's 2 ranked teams. Bama was top 10 at the time.
Yep.
And so, the thought is you got to kick the door in at some point.
Right.
Here's Kyle Kennard talking about getting over the hump against ranked teams.
Be cut 18, Ed.
I say we definitely recognize the opportunity. I say that even in those 2 games that we came short on, we recognized the opportunity. I feel like this week is no different as far as preparation. I feel like we're going out there and trying to be physical. We do that at the beginning of every week. We trying to rush the passer every week. We do that at the end of every week. Trying to have good play good in the red zone. We practice that every week. I mean, the same things we practice every week. We're just trying to emphasize even more this week.
I mean, the goal is you're playing on a level good enough to beat these teams.
Sure.
A&M is obviously top 10 ranked coming off the win over LSU at College Station. You have shown you can play with anybody.
Right.
You just have to finish the deal. And that's the next step is at the end of these games, execute, finish the deal. No dumb penalties, make the right decisions. Just do the things you did in the previous, 55 minutes, Tyler, to put you in position to win the game. Do it in money time in the last 4 minutes.
And I imagine, look, I did not play Division I college football, but I imagine when you're in the last couple of minutes of those games, when you've lost the past 9 games you've had against ranked opponents, there is an element in the back of your mind of, okay, don't screw this up. Don't screw this up. We got to finish this one, and that can throw you off your game a little bit.
What happens when you go, don't screw
you usually end up screwing it up. So it's the process of doing it to where you're not doubting yourself anymore. Right. Because again, there's no shame in losing to a ranked team. So when it happens over and over and over. The last time you did it was Clemson 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. You lost to Notre Dame, and you've lost 8 more ranked opponents since then. You got to get over that hump to nothing else to clear your own mind, so it doesn't keep happening again.
Right. Last thing you want is that stuff growing on your shoulders to where it weighs you down. And the other thing about this game with Texas A&M is A&M is a high-level running team.
Yep.
As the year has gone on. They had one of the best run games in the SEC. They run it a lot, too, where they lead the league in attempts.
Yep.
They're going to keep running it.
Le'Veon Moss, legitimately one of the best running backs in the SEC. And it's funny. You know how good this running back room is? Emmitt Smith's son is their 3rd running back, and he's not even close to the best guy in that room.
No, and they had a high-level running back get hurt before the season started.
I believe so, yeah.
If my memory serves me. And, of course, Marcel Reed at the quarterback position can hurt you with his legs as well. Your first thought is, South Carolina's so good at rushing the passer, and they're always coming after the quarterback, and they're always getting off the ball, looking to get sacks and hurries and hits. And sometimes the formula in the MO is run at dudes who like to rush the passer, because dudes that like to rush the passer typically don't like to play the run. But if you look statistically, Gamecocks in the top 3 in average yards per game defensively versus the run, and in the top 5 in yards. See, I look at yards per carry more than yards per game. Mm-hmm. They're in the top 5 in yards per carry given up.
Yeah.
So they, despite the fact that they get after quarterbacks, they have been pretty stout against the run.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, that's going to be a big element of the game this weekend. You want to, I don't know, he had 2 nice passes in last week's game against LSU, but Marcel Reed is not the better thrower between himself and Connor Wakeman. Your objective on Saturday is make him beat you with his arm, because what he's shown us this year, he's not going to be able to consistently do that over 4 quarters.
And that's what you want. You want to, we always say it, and it's always important. I love first down.
Yeah.
First down is a huge down in this game, even more so because if you can stuff A&M and force Reed into 2nd and 9s and 3rd and 7s, basically, and we've been using that success rate stat all year. If you can make A&M stink in success rate on first down, which means less than 5 yards, and force them into some down and distance situations that will put Reed in the uncomfortable position of having to throw the football, that's what you want.
And we've talked about it. You look at a blueprint like the Alabama game where Jalen Milroe had come off of running all over Georgia a couple weeks before. You contained him. Yeah, he got a couple yards and a couple rushing touchdowns, but he didn't light you up on the ground. That's going to be the same MO here. Now, here's the thing. Jalen Milroe is a much better passer than Marcel Reed is, and he did have the ability to hurt you with his arm, though he didn't do it to the degree that he'd done it to some other teams early on in the season. So, again, that's the MO. Take the run away, make Marcel beat you with his arm, and see if he can do it.
All right, what's trending at 2, sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry and Gamecock Traditions. Let's get this other cut, Ed. We need Freddie Freeman. All Freddie Freeman does in the World Series is hit home runs. Cut 27, I believe it is, Ed Bird.
It's huge. Freeman cracks one deep to right field, and gone again! Freddie Freeman floating in the World Series. 4 games, 4 home runs. You gotta be kidding.
6 straight World Series games Freddie Freeman has gone yard. He put the Dodgers up again last night, 2-0.
And I asked Jack about this earlier. I said, when he hit that home run, did you think it was over? Because, again, he's been the catalyst for all 3 of these wins so far. And he's like, yeah, I kind of did. Now, give credit to the Yankees. They did battle back and ended up winning the game. But I think a lot of people probably said, well, it's all she wrote for the Yankees this year. Freddie Freeman's got another home run.
No, yeah, once you figure Freeman hits, you can see it. He hits a home run in Game 4. Dodgers win Game 4, the sweep. Freeman hits 4 home runs in all 4 wins. Historic performance, the parade.
They're building him the statue outside of Dodger Stadium, the whole 9 yards.
Different thing though in the Dodgers. And look, this was planned. As much as I hate it, and I think doing this in the World Series is desecrating my fandom as a sports fan. The Dodgers decided to go bullpen game.
Yep.
This is the 4th time they've done it in the postseason. It's worked twice. It hasn't worked twice. The idea to me, as a baseball fan, that you in the World Series, Tyler, are going to trot out nothing but relievers makes me want to throw up in my mouth. I get it. I understand it. I hate it.
It's not the 90s anymore.
No, it's not the 90s, 80s, or 70s, or 60s, or 50s.
This ain't your grandpa's Major League Baseball.
No, it's not. Now, again, they've done it 4 times. Twice it worked. Twice it hasn't.
Sure.
But here's the thing. You're going to put Jack Flaherty on the mound in Game 5 versus Garrett Cole.
Yep.
If Garrett Cole throws away, and Garrett Cole's been very good in the World Series in his career. If Cole throws a gem, Yankees win. Now you're 3-2.
So you start to sweat a little bit.
Yeah, that's my point. You want to go bullpen game and save guys and whatever it was. Okay, I understand the strategy of the world of baseball in 2024, but you go bullpen, then they come back with ace.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Can we talk about the Yankee fan last night?
We're getting
tried
to
to rip Mookie Betts' wrist off.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, first, let's go through all the different waves of this. Okay, A, is it funny to a wave because here's this drunk goof reaching into Mookie Betts' glove trying to steal the ball with that ridiculous look on his face? Is that entertaining to a point? I will go, yeah.
Sure.
Is he also a moron that should never go to a game again? Yeah, he's a moron.
Yeah.
Then you go to cut 3 of this. Okay, it's one thing to try to get the ball of the glove.
Sure.
But his punk buddy who's grabbing Mookie Betts' arm to keep Mookie Betts from reaching into the glove, that guy deserves to be held by security. Mookie Betts should be able to kick him in anywhere on his body he wants
They
to.
should be able to hang him upside down and just give him Mookie Betts a couple free swings at him, right? I think it's one of those things where you get to a point, you've interfered. And look, there's interference where you're just reaching over, trying to catch the ball, and you're not trying to be a nuisance necessarily, but they were obviously going over the line. And I almost feel like they're like, you know what? I'm getting kicked out anyway. I want to get this ball. And I'm going to do whatever I can to get this ball because there was no regret on his face. He had a smile on his face as he's trying to rip that ball out. And one of the more bizarre things I've ever seen.
It was weird. The most bizarre ever was watching the drunk dad and the drunk son jump on the field and fight the first base coach for the Chicago White Sox. That YouTube one day when you're bored.
I'll check that out.
That one was crazy. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But look, I've always said this. If you put yourself on the playing field, you deserve any kind of physical pain and suffering that you get.
Oh, yeah.
I was hoping that Mookie Betts could have grabbed one of these guys and pulled him out and watched this guy land on his head on the field. And then I would have laughed as they were carrying him off.
Jack brought up a really good point, though. That almost seemed to spark the Yankees. And I said, if they come back and win the series, are they building that guy's statue outside of Yankee Stadium? He said, probably.
I'll say this. If the Yankees took 2 drunk morons in the stands to give them motivation, it's not a good thing.
It's not.
It's not a good thing. All right. So again, tonight is going to be very interesting with Garrett Cole again, and Jack Flaherty can throw a no-hitter, or Jack Flaherty can go up 10 runs in the first inning.
Right.
We'll see. That's what's trending at 2. Sponsored by Trish's Fine Jewelry and Gamecock Traditions. We'll continue on with more of what's trending at 2 right here on the Halftime Show, live from CLA on the Game. just hanging out here at the Colonial Life Arena, just bumming, eating some chicken.
I'm pretty sure I've eaten at least 3 pounds of
Yeah.
TK's chicken here.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be eating dinner. You will, because you're a
Yeah, I
machine.
will.
You're
No,
a
I got
machine.
dinner waiting in the fridge at home.
Yeah, I've
So.
eaten. I keep saying, okay, that's it, and then we go to a break, and two more.
It's so good, man.
Two more. It's
Shout
ridiculous.
out to Sam. Our
Thank
guy.
you, Sam. You are the man, no doubt. Terry Ford, Tyler Head here at Colonial Life Arenas. We are again celebrating the start of the men's and women's 2024-2025 college basketball seasons. And it's worth celebrating a national championship for the women. Another one. That's the third one for Dawn. Undefeated this time. And the men, again, pick last in the SEC, and they go off to the NCAA tournament.
I find it funny. I'm assuming that's the most recent one over there in the trophy case to our right, that it's on a higher pedestal than the other two. I'm assuming because of the undefeated season.
Yeah, I would assume you're assuming correct. I mean, again, Dawn does what Dawn does. They're preseason number one. Everybody's back but Camila Cardozo. They've added more firepower through the portal and again through their freshman class. It just keeps going.
It does, and this is an interesting year in women's basketball in general because you did lose a lot of star power. I mean, it's no denying Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese were huge household names from the women's basketball game. They've now transitioned over and obviously had a good first year in the WNBA for both of them respectively. But I think the game itself is kind of looking like, okay, who's that next emerging star? You got Juju Watkins out of Southern Cal. Paige Beckers is returning for her 20th year of college basketball at UConn. Haley Van Lith transferred from LSU to TCU. And, there's an opportunity to kind of be the face of women's college basketball. And there's no reason why it can't be a Malaysia Fulwilder. Maybe even Joyce Edwards comes out here and is the superstar we think she can be in year number one here at South Carolina.
Yeah, and so the women are poised once again to make a deep run in the tournament. That would just become, just another year at South Carolina.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it is so good to be able to sit here in October and be like, wonder who they're going to play in the national championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, yes, and look, this is just human nature with the fan base.
Sure.
Wins in October, November, and December, you go, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. But then you get to March and everybody starts to get lathered up and it's go time.
When you think about the greatest programs in their respective sports, the Patriots in the NFL, obviously, Nick Saban's Alabama in college football as well. There's like, okay, you won 10 games, 11 games in the regular season. That's fine. Well, where's the national championship trophy? And that is the standard that you have here, where, again, go back to 2 seasons ago, the fact that you went undefeated until the Final Four and lost to one of the best women's college basketball players ever in Caitlin Clark, that season was a failure in everybody's mind because you didn't win the national championship.
Absolutely. Think about that for a minute.
I know.
And, that's the standard that's been set. And, Dawn Staley would sit here and tell you that that's what she wants. That's what it's funny. That's what coaches want. Most of them. But some of them get to that point and then they get offended by that. They get offended by women. No, that was a successful season. Well, not one. Why? Well, you didn't win the national championship. Well, you can't hold us to that expectation every year.
Why not?
Well, again, yeah. I mean, you've done it multiple times. You've been close multiple times. So our expectation level as a fan base is that's the mountain. You've gone to it.
Yeah.
I love the coaches who embrace it, like Dawn or Gino at UConn. I guess you and I've had this conversation on the show over our time together. I am shocked the world out. No one respected us out.
Yeah.
No one believed in us out. I now love the coaches who embrace the idea that they're the hunted. They're the top dog. I love that because it's so rare now.
You go into every game as the South Carolina women with a target on your back. You are the top of the mountain. And whether you're playing Coppin State or whether you're playing Iowa, everybody is going to give you their best because they know no matter what happens the rest of their season, if they can say they beat you, they've accomplished. If they can say they took you to overtime, they've accomplished something. And that is the standard of what this program is that everybody's shooting for.
And that's what you want. I mean, to me as a coach, I would hope if I was of that level that I would be sitting here going, oh, no. We'll see what you got, dude, because we're really good.
Her name's blanking me right now. The Tennessee women's coach that got fired at the end of last season. You got to imagine if she was in that conversation about her future and that they would no longer be retaining her. I had South Carolina beat. Yeah, if Cardoso doesn't make a miracle 3-pointer, we win that game and go to the finals of the SC tournament. That had to have come up
Right.
at some point,
We
right?
were the team that was the closest to beating South Carolina all year, and you're getting rid of me?
Exactly.
Seriously?
I know that had to come up.
All right, so obviously, like I said, we're here all day. Jay and Elijah will be here for the post-game show from 3 to 6 as well at the Colonial Life Arena. Thanks again to Atkins Law and also Columbia Craft for sponsoring our little get-together here today as we start up the college basketball season for the men and the women. I will flip back to football real quick. South Carolina on the bye, and then now coming off the bye for the second time this year. First time it didn't really go well against Ole Miss. Started off, tried a fake punt, didn't work. Set up Ole Miss deep in Carolina territory.
Kind of over from there.
Rebels scored a touchdown. Just felt like the wave of momentum.
Yep.
Just drowned the Gamecocks from there. So here's bye week number 2. You're coming off of it, hoping with a better showing against Texas A&M. 2 years ago off the bye, you beat A&M.
Yes.
So hopefully you can repeat
The
that.
only time you've beaten them in this rivalry.
And you beat them here.
You beat them
at
here
Williams-Brice
with a nice kickoff return for
Yeah.
one-footed Leggett.
One-footed Leggett. All right, let's hear Nick Amon-Worry talking about momentum coming off the bye week.
Yeah, I think we still have that momentum. I think a lot of guys are kind of sad really about the bye week. Like, we want to get into the next week as fast as we can. So I think we're amped up and we're ready to go. We got like a big game coming up. It's a night game. They just beat LSU. So it's like it's a lot of energy behind this week. So I think we're ready as a defense.
I mean, it did kind of stink from a momentum perspective that you whoop Oklahoma in Norman, and then you got to sit for a week before you, or 2 weeks before you play Texas A&M.
You tied the program record for sacks in one game with 9 against Oklahoma, which, funny enough, Ole Miss even had more against them last week. But yeah, that's the momentum you would think you would like to ride. But again, there's a lot of benefits to the health and the ability to take a breath for the final 5-game stretch. And I look at this as well. And yes, kind of similar. Ole Miss did come off of an upset loss to Kentucky before you played them, but A&M just played a huge game against LSU this past weekend at home. Now they can come to your house in a night game, wild environment at Williams-Brice Stadium. That's not going to be easy for them.
No, and it's funny. Remember we were talking about, Ole Miss is coming in after being upset by Kentucky. They're going to be in a bad mood. And that didn't go out well. Now you sit here, well, A&M's coming in off of the big momentum of that win over LSU. No, it really,
you can convince yourself either way, right?
Absolutely, right? Look, the momentum's still there. This defense, even against Ole Miss, the defense had a couple of coverage busts and gave up some explosives. But for the most part, especially in the second half, they really slowed Ole Miss down.
Think about it. South Carolina set them up on the plus side of the field with that fake punt. And then South Carolina set them up at the 40-yard line with that fumble on the following drive. So they were put in less than advantageous situations right off the jump, and then boom, you're down 14-0. And as talked about, the game was kind of over from that point.
Yeah, and so at the end of the day, you're now trying to push it back uphill. You're down 14-0, and then you gave up the touchdown at the end of the half. There was a backbreaker again on the I believe a busted coverage. It became a big play down the field for Ole Miss in the passing game. So. It was one of those days, right? You have a day like that, you just get beat and you move forward. And they moved forward pretty well from that point.
For sure.
Ending up getting the win over Oklahoma and Norman. Now sitting at 4-3. You got Wofford, should be a win. You need one more to be bowl eligible. But I love the line that Shane Beamer gave from Carolina Calls the last time he did it 2 weeks ago, where they were talking about, he was on the SEC show. And they were talking about the freshman. He talked about Dylan Stewart. And I loved Shane's like, got up, gave a speech about, going to a bowl game, getting back to a bowl game. And Dylan Stewart pulled me aside after and said, Coach, we want to do better in bowl games now.
Ain't good enough.
That ain't good enough anymore. And you go, that's what you want.
That's what you want.
That you want the mentality of just getting to 6 is not what you're shooting for as a program.
Well, and we talk about it from that perspective because, that's kind of where we view the goals of this team. But again, every team's going to say trying to go undefeated, trying to win every trophy in the process and walk out as a national champions. Now that process is kind of sailed for South Carolina this year, but there's still, if you ran the table, you could still be 9-3 and get yourself to a really good bowl game. So a lot of potential goals out there still ahead of you.
All right. Greatest day in the history of the world is today.
That's right. October 30th.
We'll talk about it next here on the Halftime Show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head, Ed Bird, broadcasting live from the Colonial Life Arena all day long right here on the game. Live from CLA. Terry Ford, Tyler Head, halftime show as we are kicking off the 2024-2025 college basketball season for the men and the women. Thanks to Atkins Law and Columbia Craft for sponsoring our little adventure today. A little 3-minute ride from the studio.
It's pretty easy. Wasn't definitely not the farthest we've ever been out.
I only got lost 3 times.
I just had to, because I parked around back and I came in through, I'm assuming, a service entrance. And thank you to the guy that let me in the door, by the way, but I didn't ask him for direction. So I was just kind of wandering aimlessly through the, halls down at court level. And I eventually found my way. I heard Preston and Bill and just kind of followed the sound of their voice.
Follow the sound. All right. We are time to check the greatest day in the history of the world, which today is October 30th. This day in 1919, we always like to go old school.
Yes, we do.
The Baseball League presidents called for the abolishment of the spitball on this day in 1919. Used to be legal.
Yeah, and, that was before the modern sciences that have infiltrated baseball to this day. I wonder, with what we know in 2024, what could a spitball do today?
That'd be ridiculous.
Because it's about the aerodynamics. Now it's going to affect it flying through the air. And again, we know so much more now that, a nice little loogie on the ball. I can't imagine the movement that thing would have.
Man, you pop a little oyster on that baby and see where it goes.
That's right.
I mean, Gaylord Perry's in the Hall of Fame because he knew how to, use foreign substances. It's funny.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I was covered in Vaseline when he went to the mound. I've always said this about that is, everybody in baseball, this is what I always loves about baseball and the way people are about cheating in baseball. Certain things drive people crazy, but certain things are okay. I've always said you got to be consistent about your cheating. And it's so funny, like steroid guys, we got to waterboard them. We hate them. The Astros beat trash can lids. Oh, my God, they're awful people. They should be, put in prison for life. But guys who doctor the baseball, we think it's cute and cuddly for some reason.
As long as you can get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, like Gaylord Perry. Look at the fat old guy who doctors the baseball. This is cute. I've always said this, though. There's not one form of cheating that is worse than doctoring the baseball because every play in baseball starts with what?
The ball.
Yes.
Or the pitch.
The pitch of the ball.
Right.
So if you're doctoring the ball for this thing to spin and dart and dance and go all over the place illegally, and making it almost impossible for the hitter, I think it's the worst thing in the game.
I think I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I think there's an appreciation of the craftiness.
Sure.
Right. That you can look at, hey, here's the thing that I have to throw. What within my power that I can do to this, whether it be dirt, whether it be a nail file, whether it be spitting on the baseball, what can I do to make this thing move in a way that it's never moved before?
Have you ever seen the old school video of Joe Niekro?
I've not.
Joe Niekro had an emery board in his back pocket.
Oh, I've heard
his
about
uniform.
this. Yeah.
And the umpires are busting him, and they're wanted to, I guess, for lack of a better term, frisk him. And he goes saying, "I got nothing." And when he went, "I got nothing," he put his hand in his pocket and flipped the emery board out really quick so they wouldn't see it.
The best at doctoring the baseball, sleight of hand. You give them something to pay attention to. They're not paying attention to the thing that's happening over here. That's why, I'm gonna rub my hat after every pitch. Well, clearly I have foreign stuff inside my hat, Bill. They're gonna look at that hat 6 ways from Sundays. They don't know you got something in your back pocket.
Or
they're so focused on that hat.
Yeah, or you put the little dot on your wrist or your forearm to be able to swipe and doctor the ball.
Exactly.
Well, it's like nobody liked the Astros using modern technology to steal signs, but it's okay for some goof to stand at the third base coaching box and steal signs.
Do you remember a couple of years ago when all of a sudden Major League Baseball just really started cracking down on pitchers and, the nefarious means of doctoring the baseball to the point where I think it was Max Scherzer almost stripped down on the field because he was so upset about the umpires, accosting him.
How dare you want to bust me for illegally doctoring the baseball that I'm illegally doctoring? How dare you?
You want me to drop my pants right here? I will do that.
Exactly. And the stuff they were using was doctoring the ball.
Yeah.
And once they made it illegal, these guys, some of these pitchers were never the same.
Yeah.
Never the same. All right, this day in 1945, and a huge day in the history of the game of baseball. Branch Rickey signs Jackie Robinson to a contract to go play for the Montreal Royals, who was the Brooklyn Dodgers' top farm team at the time.
Yep.
And, of course, we know the story from there. Jackie Robinson breaks the color barrier, I believe, within the next year or two for the Brooklyn Dodgers. Oh, I'll give you one here.
Okay.
1955.
Okay.
7th NASCAR Sprint Cup champion. You know who it is?
1955.
If you get this,
man,
you are a god.
Rex White.
Close. No. Tim Fleck.
Flock?
Tim Flock. Sorry. Tim Flock.
The famous Flock family.
Yeah, the Flocks.
It was either going to be, because Red Byron was the first champion. It's either going to be Rex White or one of the Flocks.
You know, Rex White won it in 1960. On this
Ah,
day.
that was close.
Look
Dang
at
it.
you. You are
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I'm right there.
Ready? You know who won it in 1966?
1966.
Very
Wow.
underrated in his greatness. No one talks about him today, but he was unbelievable.
66.
Dominant for a while.
Gosh, you got me. Go ahead.
David Pearson.
Oh, here's the thing. I think David Pearson's the greatest driver to ever live because he did not run full seasons every single year. And even with that, won championships and won 105 races, second only to Richard Petty.
Yes, David Pearson was an animal.
I think David Pearson might actually be the overall greatest stock car driver of all time.
1973, Tom Seaver becomes the first non-20 game winner to win a Cy Young Award. Happens all the time now. It's no big deal. This day in 1974, Nolan Ryan threw the fastest recorded pitch at that time. You ready for this? 1974, 100.9 miles an hour.
Guys
Who doesn't do that
guys
now?
doing that warm-ups now.
Exactly.
How many? Okay, question. How many 100-mile-an-hour pitches are we going to see tonight in Game 5 of the World Series?
I would say 6.
Yeah, because it's nothing now.
Yeah, nobody blinks.
Which is also why pitchers' arms are falling.
I was getting ready to say, you got a guy throwing 102, and then the next pitch, his arm goes in the parking lot.
We've advanced the ability to throw that fast. The human body's not caught up yet.
Oh, the human body's going, stop it. What are you doing? You're an idiot. This day in 1974, iconic boxing match between George Foreman and Muhammad Ali, the Rumble in the Jungle in Zaire. Foreman goes out like a maniac because he wants to knock out Ali. And Foreman's knocked out everybody.
Yeah.
And Foreman's a mean human being in and out of the ring.
Yes.
Ali knew he couldn't, at that point in Ali's career, he knew he couldn't stand toe-to-toe with Foreman because Army tanks couldn't stand toe-to-toe with Foreman.
Right.
So Ali did this thing called the rope-a-dope. His trainer, Angelo Dundee, was like, you're nuts. You're going to sit on the ropes, and you're going to cover up your face and your body, and you're going to let George Foreman beat the hell out of you. Yeah, you're nuts. Watch.
Let him get tired.
That's what he did.
Yep.
Foreman threw about 1 billion punches, and by the 8th round, Foreman had nothing left. He was like the quarterback of the Colts. Foreman was done. He had nothing left. Ali TKOs him in the 8th round. Foreman was never the same for years.
That's right.
Not only did it affect Foreman in the ring, but out of the ring. Because Foreman was a beast. I remember seeing video of Foreman fighting Joe Frazier for the heavyweight championship, knocked Joe Frazier down 77 times. He beat Joe Frazier like he stole something from him. And Frazier would get up, and people were like, dude, just stay down.
Yeah.
What are you doing? He beat the snot out of Joe Frazier. He was beating the snot out of everybody. So, a lot of people thought he might kill Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Because he almost killed Joe Frazier.
Sure.
So it was an iconic fight in 1974 with Muhammad Ali, a magnificent piece of strategy to beat George Foreman. Greatest day in the history of the world. We're rolling this baby. On the greatest day, October 30th. Let me grab another one here before we get. I got one to get to here at the bottom.
Okay.
Last one. You'll like this.
Okay.
The world we live in. This is wild. On this day in 2023, Magic Johnson joins an exclusive club. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Tiger Woods. You know what club that is?
I don't.
The Billionaire Club.
Oh, okay.
Magic Johnson became the 4th athlete to become a billionaire. Tiger, LeBron, MJ, and Magic.
Wow. How about that?
Billionaire. Greatest day in the history of the world. October 30th. Our Firehouse Sub Text the Hour coming up 803-404-6100. We are hanging here at CLA getting you ready for the basketball season for the men and the women. We wrap our part up next here on the Halftime Show with Terry Ford and Tyler Head on the Game. Hanging out here at the Colonial Life Arena, Terry Ford, Tyler Head. Elijah's here. He would say hi, but he's eating. We knew he would. Did we call it? Did we call that?
Oh, yeah, we did. No, me and him, we're planning an eat-off at some point. We can get somebody to sponsor him and I just going head-to-head and eating something.
I think that would be like that old tortoise hair thing. I think Elijah would kick like a house on fire, and he'd get ahead of you.
I'm methodical.
But you're methodical.
Yeah. You give me enough time. I did partake in a donut eating contest once.
How'd you do?
I lost. It was a dozen in 10 minutes. And, hot donuts just turn to sugar in your mouth.
Oh, absolutely.
And my stomach was not too kind to me after that. But, yeah, give me a methodical, drawn-out competition. I got it.
I can see you being a machine.
Yeah.
Very slow. And eventually, while Elijah's laying on the floor in pain.
Well, he's passed out.
From that food coma.
I'm just going to walk right past him.
All right, Firehouse Subtext Rater 344-6100. We got
speaking of that, by the way, our guy TK Sam's the one that brought us all the chicken. And Bill says Sam was swinging his new flag from the top of left field bleachers for the entire baseball scrimmage against Air Force, at least through the 9 innings that I watched. If you go to an event and you don't see TK Sam swinging his flag, that's reason for concern. He is at every event, whether it counts, whether it's exhibition, scrimmage, whatever. He's going to be there. We
appreciate him, especially today. Thank you, Sam. Because it's just like Elijah was funny. He goes, I was going to have one to taste it. He goes, now I'm just sitting here going, oh, one more. I'll have one more. You know what? I'll have one more. We've done that for 3 hours.
We have. It's so good.
I was just like, I'm going to try a couple of these because, now I've had 62 of them.
And for those that are asking, yes, he has the sign with him today.
Yes, he does.
Unstoppable Sandstorm Warriors.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We thank our buddy Sam for the chicken. Very good. Got us through the day. Thank you, sir. Obviously, we have talked a ton of hoops today on both sides. And, the women, no brainer, like you just said. Who are they playing in the national championship game? Which region do they come out to go to the Final Four?
We're the rat poison for Dawn Staley.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. The men, it's different. I mean, they're picked 11th preseason. But, after we saw what we saw last year, and, you look at this team this year, and, yes, point guard is a question. Because again, our boy Talon Cooper was fantastic. Jamari Thomas, he's going to get most of that run at the point, but we might see some other guys get a little run there as well. But that's really the key to this team. Can Thomas step in? And he's a different player. He's more of a scorer than Cooper. Just a different type of guy. But can he run the offense? Can he ignite the offense? Can he be a guy that's going to be pass first? Is he going to be the dude to get the ball to guys in the right spots to where they can be as productive as possible? The stuff that Cooper did last year, can he do that to, a successful level, plus doing the things that he does that made him last year's Conference Player of the Year?
Yeah, you're going to look at these guys individually. And like you said, Jamari Thomas is going to be expected to be the one that ran the offense like Talon Cooper. Is Nick Pringle going to be that dominance in the post that you need from somebody with the size that he has? Can Zachary Davis, who we assume is probably going to be in the starting lineup this year, can he be that point for the 1-3-1 defense that he was a season ago? All these guys have jobs and have assignments. And again, you're returning a lot of guys. How much better is CMB going to be in year number 2? What's Cam Scott going to be in year number 1? So many reasons to be excited about what this team's going to be. And if you come to Colonial Life Arena tonight, you get a little glimpse at them taking on Worcester.
I'm going to buy into LP. I like that. I'm buying into LP.
I'm surprised it's taking you this long to.
I was trying to be respectful, Coach Paris, but after talking to the players, I like LP.
Yeah, we're not on a first name basis when you say Lamont.
Yeah, we're good with LP.
Yeah,
I like LP.
I think LP is good. It fits the vibe.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy in. I think last year showed me something. Last year showed me that LP, he knows what type of player, just like Bo Ryan, who he coached with at Wisconsin. He knows the type of players he needs to fit his culture and run his systems on offense and defense.
And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. With how tough this conference is, there's going to be some nights where they probably don't look that good.
No.
And we're going to want to come in the next day and say, oh, my God, what's wrong? But every game's different.
Yeah.
And as we've seen through 2 years here, you look bad one game, look great the next game. You just got to trust the process and see where you are at the end of March.
I really believe, and I'll buy into the fact that this team will be in position to get in the NCAA tournament by the end of the year.
I believe so.
That's where I'm going to go with LP.
That's right.
And this team. Winland Foods, been around for 30 years in the Midlands. You might have heard of American Italian Pasta Company. Well, that's a Winland Foods company. They are hiring. Currently, they're looking for multi-craft maintenance techs, press operators, packaging operators, high school diploma or GED, 1 year manufacturing experience required. A lot of really cool stuff if you decide to fill out the application by going to winlandfoods.com/careers. Very competitive compensation package. Also very competitive benefit package. Quarterly hourly bonus program. Very friendly employee time off program as well. They throw in paid parental leave and a 401k match as well. You just go to winlandfoods.com/careers, fill out the application. Clean working environment, very employee friendly, right off of I-77. Winland Foods, again, 1 year of experience in manufacturing, GED, or high school diploma. Go to winlandfoods.com/careers. All right, so as we get ready to wrap this baby up, and Jay and Elijah, well, Jay will talk the first hour because Elijah's going to be eating.
Yep.
Jay's got a stick.
Yeah,
Jay's got chicken on a stick. Just hey, don't do what I did and poke your mouth. I need stitches. But all right, so we are done. Finish history down the road. Fine job, Ed Bird, back at the studio, and all the folks here on site to help make this happen. Halftime show, Terry Ford, Tyler Head, Jay, and Elijah. The halftime show coming up next.
All right.